There we go. Cool. Hello, hello. Hello. Hi. 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 Hi, hi, hi. Hi, Trucker. How's it going? Heidi. Hi. How are you? I am. I think so. I was just setting up my live. Sorry. It's always, every time I go live using my computer, it's like something's not working. It's not just the computer, sometimes the phone too. It's like the setup that worked perfectly last time, all of a sudden, I gotta update the drivers. I gotta restart the fucking camera a million times. All this stuff. How are you guys? Rizzo's, my dog's walking around looking all happy. Because Philippe is here. Yeah, I see you. You're happy. So she got a nice treat. A nice big old treat. Philippe. Philippe. Yeah. D says hi. Who? D. Hi, D. He says hi. Rizzo, D says hi. Ay. I can't believe I'm yawning already. I feel like I just hopped up here. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Trucker. I do appreciate that. It does help me. Once again, it says that there's 0 people in here, but I know there's at least 2 of you. Something's weird with TikTok live stuff again. 3 people. Yay. Thank you, D. I may have messed it up a little bit because I went live like 2 minutes ago, and I hopped off like within the first 20 seconds because I had a technical difficulty. I thought I got it all sorted, and then I went, and then nope. So I had to stop it. And so I feel like sometimes when I have to do that, the algo is like, oh, 0 viewers in the live. Yeah, next time we're not going to send anyone her way. You know what I mean? The algo is not very elegant in that sense. I think. Okay. Jeez. I need to stop looking at like my TikTok. I'm getting a lot of alerts the last couple days. And okay. All right, D. And there's, I love everyone, and I adore everyone who's honoring me with a follow, who's giving me who's letting me, who's listening to me, anything I have to say. But also, there are some stupid people out here. The sign says, it's backwards, I guess. Can you read that? Thank you, trucker. Thank you for the likes. You just brought a whole flock of people in. Thank you. It says, Trump is the symptom, capitalism is the disease, socialism is the cure. I picked it up at the March for Our Lives a few years ago. Oh, yeah, shit. Do you really think, do you think people come in here and think that it's like a pro-Trump thing? No, it's very much like he's the bad guy. That's the message. I should probably remove it, but I like it. Yeah, like I said, I picked it up at the March for Our Lives. I think it was back in 2016. Sorry, Pamela. Yeah, pues sí. I've been giving it out. I'm gonna have to do a video. So I switch it up a lot, but I by far get the most compliments, and this time included, when I do. So my shampoo is always Giovanni Tea Tree Triple Threat, I think, shampoo and conditioner. It's a little expensive, but I think it's worth it because all my other products are cheap. So, and there's reason, whatever. I'll make a whole actual post. So that's what I wash and condition, and I do like squish to condition. And then these products were the Not Your Mother's Curl line. So I do Not Your Mother's Curl Cream. I do that, and then I squish it all in like that, and then I do Denman brush. I don't like finger curl or curl each one individually. I'm too lazy for that. So I just do the shrink, and then Denman brush, and then I do Not Your Mother's hard hold gel and mousse. And I do the same thing. This time I think I did the mousse first. I feel like I usually do the mousse second, but this time I did it first for some reason. And then I put it in a microfiber towel, do all that stuff, and then I diffuse when I'm done with that. It's all Not Your Mother's, which is cheap. It's great. We love it. But part of the reason I like the Giovanni shampoo stuff is because it's like on the more clarifying side. Thank you, pues sí. Pues sí. My curls are beautiful. Sí, son preciosas. Muchísimas gracias. The reason I like the Giovanni stuff is because it's on the side. The shampoo especially is like more clarifying. You know what I mean? Like a lot of, if you do like the curly girl routine, so you do like no sulfates, no sulfides, no whatever, all that stuff. You like don't use you only use clarifying shampoo, whatever. But because I don't really care that much about it, I tried all that stuff, but Not Your Mother's I don't think is curly girl friendly, and it's the thing that works best in my hair. But having a shampoo that's like a little bit more on the clarifying side means that no matter what kind of stuff I'm putting in my hair, it's getting it out. You know what I mean? So that's what I use it for. Also, it's tea tree oil, so like if you have any sort of dry scalp or psoriasis or anything like that. It's good for that. You know, whatever. Thanks for the follow, Fitness with Jeremy. It's the opposite of fitness up in here. Although, I have been, when I go live, I have been lately wearing my little wrist weights. What should we talk about tonight, guys? I need a little sanity up in here. I'm like a little bit. Hi, Ennio. Thank you, Fitness. I'm just gonna say I'm getting a little overwhelmed with the response to the videos right now. I've had videos get this many views, but people, man. Do I like to cook? Sometimes. I don't usually have the executive function to bring myself to cook. You know what I mean? But when I do have the executive function to cook, I like to do it. Who's my favorite film director? Ooh, that's a tough one. I don't think I have a single favorite one, to be honest. I'm trying to think. Uh-oh. Did that disconnect from you guys? I'm sorry. Sorry, is that disconnected still? Or is that working? Yeah, the writing gigs are not going. Not for me, frankly. But I also have not been writing all that much since the pandemic. Oh, I love to bake, Pamela. I do bake more than I cook, probably. You can't do this today? Okay. My name's not Brenda, but I think you know that. I'm multinational. I'm Spanish and American. I have dual citizenship. It's not that impressive, Pamela. I just follow instructions really well. Well, that's not true. I don't follow instructions very well. But I follow science pretty well. You know what I mean? You do not. Yeah. I'm also like, I don't care if something turns out terribly. It's like, how bad can, baked goods really be? You know what I mean? Like, maybe it won't be the best thing in the world, but it's usually good. Spanish. But yeah, I like to learn the science. I think part of it, you know what, if I'm really going to think about it, is I like hacks, I like tricks. And so just by the nature of that, like, I like learning that if you use like box cake mix, for years I never used box cake mix, but this past year I've used box cake mix just because my boyfriend has like very specific like flavor things that he likes, and including like fake strawberry, like artificial strawberry flavoring. He and I both like that a lot, so that's why. But like learning that if you swap out like I think the water or the milk in like a box cake mix for buttermilk, gives you like a much more moist and dense and whatever cake. Or like if you want to get like a flat cake, basically it's like I like learning like tricks and hacks like that, and as a result, you kind of start learning the science a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you start, because you learn the little tricks, you start, like, it kind of not requires, but it results in you understanding a little bit of like what each thing starts to do, you know? Philippe's like already Laying down on the couch, falling asleep. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Pamela. But yeah, what was I saying earlier? They're just getting overwhelmed by the response today. People get really fucking vitriolic on the internet. This is why I try not to engage in like super negative shit. I mean, I'll get negative. I'll get political, obviously, but I don't like to get personal. I don't like to get negative with like a person that I'm interacting with. You know what I mean? Like I'll criticize politicians, whatever. I don't like to fucking stir up drama with influencers and bullshit. Like, what a waste of time. What so stupid. And people get so into it. People get so into it. It's people are insane. I'm not trying to like disrespect people, obviously. But yeah. I got accused of being paid off by Be Better today. Yesterday I was getting accused of being paid by the DNC. Today I got accused, well, starting last night, moving into today, I've been accused multiple times of being paid off by Be Better because I said don't send the guy death threats. And I know I shouldn't like let that get to me. Like the funny thing is like I get insulted all the time. Thank you, Irem. Yeah, it's like I get insulted. I get tons of terrible comments. I've gotten death threats and stuff before. I've gotten doxing attempts. They all get filtered automatically, but all this stuff. But nothing like bothers me more. That's not true. Maybe it's just the mood I'm in. Few things bother me more than people like being purposefully obtuse or like purposefully either misrepresenting or purposefully like not understanding what I was trying to say or what, you know what I mean? I understand that not everyone's always going to understand exactly what I'm trying to say, for sure. But like when we're talking about like simple fucking concepts, it drives me nuts. And it drives me nuts that people act like everything is some crazy, like that I couldn't possibly be like, hey guys, maybe don't send someone death threats without being fucking paid off. And people are like mad at me for that. Like that to me is outrageous. That is so much more outrageous than me receiving death threats. You know what I mean? That's people being mad at me for saying don't do that to someone is so much more outrageous than the people out here doxing me and sending me threats. Because it's like, okay, you're supposedly like a normal fucking person. Like, let's have a real, you know what I mean? It's just nuts. Hi, Pellegrino. Yeah, right, Pamela? That's not just me. Yeah, Peter. Yes, and I know I shouldn't mind the comments. I mean, that's kind of what I'm saying. It's like the comments that should get to me are like I'm usually fine with. The comments that are insulting, that are saying horrible fucking things to me, usually like whatever. It's just it's fun. It's more fun for me to respond to trolls like that. I think that's what it is. When people come in to troll, it's okay, let's get into it. You know what I mean? Let's do it. But when people are like purposefully, like normal people, the people who are not sending things like threats and doxing or whatever, even it's like they're refusing. Yeah, it's like it makes me lose a little bit of hope in humanity, to be completely honest, when I see that. People are silly. People are silly. People are out for blood. Like, I fully understand gladiators now. Like, I understand people literally wanted to see people tear each other apart. People have fucking, like, bloodlust. It's crazy. Humans want blood. They do. They want to see people really hurt each other. What's that, Tony? The Hadron Collider issue in Texas? What was the issue? Hi, Nas. Mm. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me, Tony. That's the thing. Also, I was gonna like the thing that's annoying too. I don't know. I was gonna follow up with another response to be better. I started typing it up today. I was like so annoyed because I was like I was hemming a dress and I was just getting worked up and I was thinking through all these things and I was like, you know what? And then I was like, I went and I sat down and I started typing up a little. Eleanor. Thank you for the let him cook, Nas. My education, my specialty. I mean, I don't have a specialty. I'm not an expert in anything. I feel like I was very clear about that in at least one of my videos. I do not claim to be an expert on anything. I am a filmmaker. I went to film school. Well, I went to university and got a degree in film and TV production and a minor degree in psychology. I almost did. I was like 2 credits short of a double major, but I graduated a year early because I didn't want to pay for 4 years of college. So I took as many credits as I could every semester. It's Spanish. Ana. From Spain. What genre of films do I like making? I mean, I've written a couple of screenplays that are like social issues, history, social issues, like from around like the 1960s, 1970s. I mostly professionally work in short form stuff, unfortunately. So I work in like commercials and music videos and whatnot, ironically. Wait for it. Wait for it. What am I waiting for? Rockstar? Did it pop on my head? On my face? It didn't happen. I feel like TikTok does that sometimes when the camera is my GoPro through OBS. You know what I mean? I don't know why. Oh, that's true, Texan. Oh my god. But I'm now on the reason I joined sorry. Fucking hell. My notifications are going a little crazy right now. What was I responding to? One more try? All right, let me get nice up and close. I wonder if it feels like the lighting is a little bit crunchier than usual. Hold on. Let me. Ah! That worked. Maybe I just have to be closer to the camera. Maybe that's it. Here, let's do this. How's that? Let's do that. Thank you, Nars. Relaxed goose. That was cute. I liked that the legs went like, you know what I mean? It felt very realistic. Enhance. Good Trouble invites you to watch their live. Good Trouble's live now, guys. My doppelganger. Yeah. He is an OG. I made a post a while back because I have this like Polaroid t-shirt that I wear all the time. And he did something. He was like wearing like a Polaroid hat. And we have the same glasses, not these. I have another pair of glasses that looks exactly like his. And people have told me sometimes, like a couple, like 2 people, I think, have told me that I remind them of Good Trouble. And so he did this thing with the glasses and the Polaroid thing. And I was wearing the Polaroid t-shirt. So I filmed a thing that I was like, should we be friends? He never answered. He never responded. Aye. Not as good? Oh, thank you, Naz. Were that true? Or would that be, I don't fucking know. But whatever. Which reminds me, I gotta hop in here on my alt in case I get banned again. I gotta build up that alt. Here I am. How do I do this? Oh, guest. Request. Accept. There we go. The Rockstar gift is a scam? Oh no, I'm sorry. So it's specifically the thank you for the Rockstar, Nas. Thank you. Although, are you sure it's not because I was like, maybe it's because it's crunchy again. I'm on the GoPro again. Can you guys tell? I feel like you can. I feel like you can always tell. You know what I should do? But then I can't check it. I love the dangly little legs.
What's that?
Nothing, baby. It's okay. I accidentally woke up Philippe. He thought I was talking to him. You know. I know. I know you know. Do you know I know you know? I wonder if maybe. Let's try this. It's like I'm not trying to have like. Let's see. Oh, it's a little better on that. Yikes. I know you know when the GoPro is a go. I'm a pro at knowing. When you know there's the GoPro's going. I feel like there's a poem there. Yahweh. So I wonder, okay, if I brought the camera closer, would we get that like quality that you guys so crave? Should I do this? Is this what you want? Would this make you happy? This feels so unflattering to me. That's true, Ennio. That's a good point. That's a good measure. It feels like it's focusing on the stuff in the back. I feel like it is. see. Thank you, Renee. Ted Cruz hate and slander. I don't think you need to slander the guy to make him look bad or to hate him, really. Let's see. Color. Oh, wait, I know. Hey, Siri. Siri. Hey, Siri. I don't fucking use Siri. How do I do that? How do I Siri?
What do you want to be reminded about?
No, not that Siri. This Siri. Never mind, Siri.
No problem. I won't.
Good. Oh, no. That reminds me, Philippe and I are going to film a crazy Siri video soon. Hey, Siri. How do I do this? Ugh, not that. How do I this? Philippe is snoring. Hey, Siri. I'm trying to figure out how to Siri up in here. I forget. How do I do this? Hey, Siri. But Google? Hey, Siri? You don't have so you don't have an iPhone, Nuts? Fucking hell. How do I do this? There we go. Hey Siri. Aurora. Because the required app is missing. What the hell? Okay. Aurora. Can you tell me what app is missing, or are you just going to tell me that it's missing? I don't know why I'm still holding this. Because I'm trying to figure out if it's like the focus is on the distance thing, which is what I'm doing with Siri. Boy. Hi, Dan. Thank you for... Oh, you sent something to my alt. Oh, nice. Thank you. Aurora. Required app is missing. I forget how I did this. What's the other? Maybe it's this one. This is the problem with the iPhone, like automatically removing apps that you don't use all the time. Then like the automated stuff starts breaking if you don't do it often. You know what I mean? Glare and focuses for nothing. Renee. Yeah, well, I really, really like true crime. Yes. I'm not like an armchair detective exactly. I mean, sort of. I found some stuff for the Adnan Syed stuff that I sent on to Raya. Is that her name? Raya? A while back. I'm not going to say what, because I sent it like anonymously. But, yeah, right, Dan? I'm not like professionally an investigative journalist. I do research for film stuff, especially when I'm like writing. But I haven't really. I do research because I have fucking ADHD and I get hyper focused and I follow a rabbit hole as far as it'll go. That, like, let's be fucking honest. That's what I do. What's it like having 3 cameras on this? This is my first phone with the 3 lenses. I guess it's fine. Oh, that's true. I did find the person who stole my identity. Oh, I feel you, Renee. Are you saying that you want me, are you asking me to look into something? I'm also on RBI. Do you guys know that? Reddit Bureau of Investigation. I've helped some people figure some stuff out on there. I'm a good stalker, like electronic stalker. You know what I mean? RBI, yeah. I found out about the woman who ruined my life. I found everything about her that I could at the time. But, yeah, okay, let's see if that works. Aurora. Allow. Come on. There we go. All right, what if I... Hey, Google. Turn off the chandelier. How do we feel about this? Maybe Keith Morrison? Yes, Nas. You got me. It's the scoop. I know. I'm an armchair stalker. I sit at home and I find stuff out from the comfort of my couch. You know what I mean? And then once I find it, I'm done. I don't like follow anyone around or anything. I'm not. You have to go outside to like physically stalk people, and I'm not really into that nearly as much as I am into sitting on my couch with my laptop. So I was really, Benny, maybe you should stop breaking the law. You ever think of that? You ever think of that? Okay. Here we go. On the live. Yeah, the quality isn't great. Everyone do their you mean their check kiting? That's check kiting, guys. Don't do that. Don't do the chase fucking hack. I don't know, Benny. How good are you at CIA not counter intel? It's a good question. How good are you at blending in? How good are you at like convincing people to do things for you and making them think that it's a reconnaissance? Making them think that it's their idea. Autistically good at blending? That is to say, not at all good at blending? Or do you mean autistically good at blending as in you study it to death and then you get really fucking good at it? Until something goes wrong. Oh, nice. That's good. That's why you carry a sign-up pill. Very good point, Benny. That is a very good point. Does the quality look worse? The camera quality. Is the camera quality worse on the when I'm on the thing? You know what I'm saying? Lighting is good. How does the camera quality compare to just like other people's Yes, Dan. This is a GoPro Hero 8 Black. And I'm using it. Oh, you don't care about quality? Alright. But Naz, you're the one who's told me when it's like kind of crunchy or whatever. Yeah, well, yeah, but sometimes I'm on my phone. I'm often on my phone. I don't know. I can't tell if the loss in quality is like the camera or if it's just because when I'm on my phone, I can't see. I can't like check in on the live to see what's on there. Do I have a light changing temp? You're saying this one? Yeah. This is really my gaming setup a little bit. A tad glitchier. Okay. It's the light. The light. Thank you, Bald News. Thank you. I feel like a lot of people are going to be disappointed when they realize that my account is not just like taking people down constantly. Brace for impact type FYP. Nah? Okay, good. Good, Bald. Welcome. In that case, welcome. As long as you're not expecting me to become like a bully. Great. How much for a takedown video? As in, how much do you have to pay me for a takedown video? Oof. You know, I was going to say for a takedown video on you. You know, I was going to tease in my last one. And you missed the debate team night. I mean, we can do debates. People are welcome to come up here. I just set the lighting as this. I could probably undo this lighting if you guys don't like it. I don't know why I was doing it. Yeah, Naz, that's when you fell in love with me. When you came in here and I was using a Geiger counter to test radioactivity of all my belongings for fun. What would I like to debate? Well, I usually let people come up here and I ask them what they want to talk about. And then I debate them. And if they say dumb things, which sometimes they do, I like to point out in the nicest way possible how dumb the things they're saying are. That's what I do. I like to fact check. We have there's actually, my motto here is we fact check here to the point where there's literally merch being made right now that says we fact check here. I did not come up with the merch. Someone else did. That's the only reason it's happening. I was not pushing that. But I like that. I like that as a thing for me. So yeah, what is another issue we can sort out? Tech bros and crypto? I was just nasty. Are you MAGA? You're a red hat, huh? Custer? Yeah, I was nasty. And people who call me nasty are generally red hats. Yeah, right, Benny? Custer, you should come on up. Oh, wait, someone requested. Oh, that was bald. Hi. Sorry, my mods are not here, so I can't even. Hi, bald.
Hey.
What's up?
Oh, sorry. Where's my Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Okay, awesome. Sorry about that. Yeah, no, your content is awesome.
Thank you. Bald news.
Yeah, sorry. I mostly just report on like mainstream stuff. I saw the Be Better because he also kind of covers the mainstream stuff. And then I also saw the terrible Harris thing, and I was just like, ugh. And then a lot of people were jumping on it, so of course I had to report on it. But I was like, because it just, you ever just hear something and it doesn't sit right anywhere inside of your soul?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Sorry, I'm looking at you on my phone here. That's why it doesn't look like I'm looking straight at you.
No, you're. I'm trying to get my stand to work because like, this is like my setup, and then I've got my green screen back over here.
Oh no.
But
You do like
yeah,
full news which you do like full is the green screen for the news stuff?
kind of. I wish I was more professional, but it's just me, and it's a lot of like screen recordings and just cropping and putting stuff up.
That's professional. I don't know. What do you mean by professional?
Oh, like I don't know, like a crew and
most news. I mean, sure, yeah. If you have a whole fucking network behind you, that's great, right? But like, unless you're like on site, like reporting it, you know what I mean? You don't need a crew. Like, if we're talking like most anchors, most news reporters who, if they're not on site, it's a green screen with the stories popping up. You know what I mean? So that's plenty professional. That's what it is. Especially in this era, I was just having a conversation today with my friend who's actually in marketing. She's actually like a queen of marketing.
oh wow,
And she's also Canadian. Partially, she's half Canadian. She works for
sweet.
Amazon in their marketing department. Anyway, I like messaged her and I was like, because she's not on TikTok. I was like, I'm going a little viral for this thing, and I keep thinking of you, because whenever I think of marketing experts, I think of her and stuff. And so we had a whole big talk about. I kind of explained what was going. She watched the videos, and we just had a whole chat about Be Better. But we were having this discussion today about how marketing terminology is like needs to be updated, according to her. She's like, with this whole like social media has changed the game so much. And I work in the film industry, so I film, like I direct and sometimes produce commercials, and we also similarly have that, like there's, things are changing, and it's like the way we do our jobs changes, the way we have to think of how to film a commercial changes. Like, you know what I mean? Now it's like doing stuff for vertical and horizontal change. Like, it seems like such a minor thing, but it changes the game like completely, the approach completely, and what looks good framing wise traditionally, what everyone went to film school to study and learn, like no longer applies for the majority of like ingested media now. And it's like really it's this really interesting era where we're kind of like, we don't yet have the book isn't written yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was an article of a producer explaining how Hollywood is losing a lot of talent to streaming, and like Aisha Speed and Kai Cenat are their own movies.
Really? Can you send me that
Yeah.
article? That sounds interesting.
I did a video on it. I really covered a lot of like just like kids are obsessed with like Aisha Speed, Kai Cenat, Logan Paul, even though Crypto Zoo and the other. Oh, actually, he's in trouble again for something going on in Canada.
Is he?
Yeah, it's called Liquid Marketplace, and if you can look at, well, I mean, let me look up that thing for you real quick. Hollywood. Okay, so this was on Dexerto about a day ago. One Hollywood movie director. How do I send you the
Oh, I know you. I've seen your stuff, I think.
I'm sorry about that. It's really clickbaity. Um,
It's okay.
it's a bunch of nonsense too.
Now we're friends.
Oh, thank you so much. No, because like it's a huge honor because you're a freaking director. That's huge.
Well, thank you. But fucking commercial director, dude. That's not that exciting.
Well, yeah, but I'm just like I'm a 38-year-old dad that started doing this. By the way, I tried out for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers back in 2003. So I spent it's in Manitoba. It's the Winnipeg CFL team.
Okay.
So I spent some time in Winnipeg, like 6 months, but I didn't have like a reason to stay in Canada too much. Although it's beautiful.
Yeah, I've been to like Montreal a couple times, I think, and actually I've been to Toronto, whatever. Yeah. Sorry, you were pulling something up. You were gonna look up.
Okay. So it's on Dexerto. How do I send this to you? I guess, did you want me just to read the article? I can do that too.
Sorry, my brain is like.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, where's the article? I could look it up.
Okay, so it's on Dexerto.com /Twitch because I unfortunately I get most of my stuff from Twitch, but I have to really fact check it on Twitch.
Yeah. How do you spell that?
Dexerto. It's DEXERTO period COM.
Okay. .com. What is this? I don't know this site. That's bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, they cover a lot of like just mainstream kind of nonsense.
Okay.
But this one in particular says Hollywood movies are losing versus streamers like Aisha Speed and Kaisenet, says director.
What's up, Dan?
Hey guys, how you guys doing?
Oh, hey, sorry about that.
I'm doing good.
Hi guys.
Hi. Waiting on laundry. I figured I'd bother you guys and say hi.
Welcome, Dan. You've never hopped up like that, have you?
Yeah.
Wow.
No, first time. My therapist tells me I should get out more and do stuff. So, baby steps, right?
Yeah.
A joke.
Welcome.
It's a good joke.
Where the fuck are you that's
Thanks.
so sunny?
Hong Kong?
Nice.
Oh, that's freaking awesome.
Damn.
Yeah, I have no more clean clothes, so I'm stuck for the next 15 minutes.
Nice. Someone said Dan chilling for real, for real. Yeah. Dan is chilling for real,
Yeah.
for real.
Yeah.
One Hollywood movie director. What? Baby Invasion. Oh, Harmony Korine. That's funny. Harmony Korine. I had an opportunity to work for Harmony Korine, and I got super depressed.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I got super depressed, and then didn't. But that's funny.
Wow, that's so interesting.
I would say this is interesting because Harmony Korine is someone who, like, I think has an interesting perspective on a lot of stuff. I don't think is going to have the best perspective on all stuff, especially like mainstream Hollywood, because Harmony Korine is not really part of like mainstream Hollywood. But I am, but that is interesting. Like, I don't disagree. Like, as a filmmaker who's on here now, who's just spent, I've only been on TikTok for about a year and a half at this point. Wow. And part of the reason I started taking it more seriously is like I went viral like last summer was my first like viral video, and I was like, oh, like, like I could maybe do this, and I started taking it more seriously, and now now I'm part of the Creator Fund, all this stuff, and I've been live streaming, and I've been doing just more and more of this as someone who like was very much not on social media during the pandemic, especially, and like the film industry is at such a standstill right now, such a standstill, and has been for years. It has been very slowed down, and like smaller production companies and like smaller productions kind of like died out in a lot of ways because most people couldn't weather the storm. And like, so I used to be so busy before the pandemic, and now it's like, you know what I mean? Like I feel like my career just like went up in flames, into smoke, and but like social media, even though I'm not like that big on TikTok, it's like a really good like backup slash alternative career. And now, because like I can't help but study it like a fucking maniac, because I'm like, oh, there's a game to it, and I can study it and I can learn it and I can do better at it. Like I'm realizing, and I'm having to make this case. I made this case, it's mainly to my mother. I've made this case to my mother where I'm like, you know what, like, she's rolling her eyes at me and she's like, but that's not like a career, that's not a thing. And I'm like, it's not. It is a career for a lot of people. I'm not saying it is my career, but as someone who is formally trained in filmmaking, in storytelling, with cameras, who like, my mother was a journalist, and when I was
wow.
in high school, she and my teachers loved to say that I was going to be the next Michael Moore. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
And also she like, I also have written, like, done comedy stuff and whatever, and she like would love for me to do more comedy, like the Daily Show stuff. And I had to kind of be like, Corley, like, that's my mom's name, sorry. Like, all of these things that like you've always wanted for me, like, I'm kind of doing the new version of it. Like, I know it's social media and I roll my eyes at it too, but I'm using my degree. Like, this is what I studied. I'm telling these stories. I'm talking like about news stuff, often, similar to like that whole Michael Moore thing. I'm talking about politics. I'm making comedic content, which is like what you want me to do. Like, she always wants to do more comedic content than like drama and like serious content, which is more what I was like doing before. It's this amalgamation like of all these things that she really wanted me to end up doing, and yet she can't wrap her head around the fact that I'm doing them. They're just in a different format. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm like
Yeah, it does.
yapping, but
Yeah, it's even though it's super saturated, it's still like so many people don't realize, just how the potential still,
yeah,
or what you can do on social media.
yeah.
I'm new to this myself. I never only during the pandemic, first time I put anything on social media, and TikTok's fault.
Well, even though I have, and this is actually the best time for newer accounts because they're really trying to push the newer accounts. Us older accounts, I've been on the TikTok for about 4.5 years, and I only have 2 million, but I only started figuring it out.
Dude, I don't even have
these
40,000. So don't even come at me with like
Did he say only 2 million?
Pity numbers, pity.
But it doesn't
Wait, oh yeah, what? Wait, only 2 million? That's
Yeah.
wild.
But the 2 million don't matter.
Fuck off.
It's like
Pity numbers, pity.
impact with less. Especially right now because they're going to push you out a lot more than us because we've been here for a long time. So that's why I keep starting newer accounts because they get pushed more.
Really?
And yeah, because they really want to get these new faces on here so that they can keep. It's just their dichotomy, and this happens every couple of years on TikTok. It's been happening since about 2018. And every couple of years, they'll just really push the newer accounts. And we're kind of going through that right now. And I've had to adjust my content from, I think when I first started was Christian to anime. And anime was great. But then the Johnny Depp trial happened. And I started doing news. And then I went from like 1 million maybe every other day to like 10 million a day. But then, after the Johnny Depp trial, but that was back when we were on the Creator Fund. And that was only like $16 per million views. It was terrible. And then the creativity beta was amazing because people were making $30,000-$40,000 a month off of that. And now Oh my gosh, yeah, it was amazing. And then October, where they started pushing the TikTok shop. I mean, that cut in half, and then now it's like I still make quite a bit, but I actually make more from ads.
Really?
But yeah, I really want to get more into it because when I see people like you do your content, it just blows my mind because I'm just learning this as I go, and you seem to have a great grasp on it. I'm just like, how do I learn this? Um,
You've
so
got
Thank
to. The
you.
only way you got to steal her brain. She's got that amazing brain. It's
yeah,
really
Oh,
fantastic.
shut
You have to.
you.
There's no way. There's no way to imitate. It's unimitatable.
No, no, no,
facts. This is facts. No,
no.
it's inspiring to me when I actually watch people that know what they're doing do it because I'm throwing darts out there. I've been doing
I
that
mean,
for
I feel the same way, dude. Honestly, I feel the exact same way, and like, I got my first job recently. We filmed last week.
oh wow.
For and like based in part on my social media stuff. Like it was the first time that I like told someone like, by the way, I mean, because I've also only been doing this for like a year and a half, and I'm a baby content creator, so like I've been mortified that I've been doing this for the longest time. I like no disrespect, you know what I mean? Like I love this app. This app pulled me out of a depression like no other. It's like the first time in years that I have felt like I like my voice matters again. You know what I mean? The pandemic was rough, and I just kind of the main lesson I walked away from the pandemic with was, oh, your voice doesn't matter. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Like you might as well just fucking, just disappear. No one cares. And this app has like not fixed me, has helped me to heal from that. Whatever. So I've only recently been like acknowledging or telling people outside of like, my boyfriend and a couple of my very close friends, and I'm like on TikTok and I'm creating content, and like recently I was the first job I got that was based in part on my social media presence, and was the first one that I was like, yeah, listen, I do political content, and it was like a PSA type thing is the best way I can describe it. I do political content. I'm learning the content creation thing,
Yes.
and I do live stream like debate discussion stuff to encourage people to get politically involved. Like this is great. But we had this whole conversation where because basically they wanted for horizontal and vertical platforms, they wanted something that was like going to work for all sorts of platforms. And it was
Yeah.
like this big discussion the whole sort of through prep and during filming and stuff, like what the content is that can actually fit those things. And there's like, again, this is kind of what I was saying at the beginning. It's like, there's no playbook yet. And I told them repeatedly, like, I'm just testing stuff out. I am still learning. I am constantly researching and looking up, like, what works? What do people like? What is, like, all this stuff. I have it's trial and error. I have no fucking clue what I'm doing. But sometimes something works and sometimes it doesn't. You know what I mean? Like
Yes, and that's very interesting that you bring that up because a couple of years ago, and I'm not going to name the people that were reached out to, but like bigger creators on this app at the time, Mr. Beast had reached out to a bunch of these people, and I'm not going to get over what I think about Mr. Beast, but he was trying to figure out if
please,
any
by
of these
all means,
people.
do.
Well, I just okay. So I'm a dad, and by the way, very proud of you. You're doing an amazing job. And but like as a dad, he knowingly put a registered S offender in front of my kids, and so to me that's despicable. But so is Nickelodeon, so is Disney.
Wait, for
And
what?
it's just,
What are Nickelodeon and Disney despicable for?
okay. So Drake Bell was S assaulted
You're
by.
talking about what's his face? Okay, yeah. The
I do apologize. Yes.
the guy that the documentary series that just came out on HBO was about.
Yeah, Drake
Quite-
and
quite
Josh.
on-
What's
Yeah,
his name?
you're quite on the set, and that was
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but then Disney hired that person and put him in Sweet Life, like after, yeah. So, I mean, they all do it, and so Mr. Beast did it, but he hasn't addressed any of this, and it just this all kind of just came out recently. So, but anyway, Mr. Beast was trying to get in contact with these people to figure out what they knew about short form content because he was trying to get into short form content a couple years ago. Obviously, he's doing a great job because he's #3 on this platform. But from what he was saying, is like no one person had like an actual idea as to what short form content looked like because it was different from person to person.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny you say that too, because like the only like awareness I've had of Mr. Beast until recently, for many years, was like my friend that I've had these discussions about over the years. He's a producer, and similarly, it's like, oh, what's the next thing? Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Was he keeps using Mr. Beast as like I guess Mr. Beast talks a lot about that, like how he figured out the like cover image and the like how to get the thing, and he kind of like was one of those like early explorers that figured out that stuff. But even so, it's shifting a lot, right? Because like what works on YouTube doesn't work on TikTok, doesn't work on Instagram. In fact, what works on TikTok doesn't work on Instagram, and vice versa. And like
That's true.
that, I'm like tiny on. I mean, I'm tiny here, but it's like I'll have videos do really really well here, and like crickets on Instagram constantly. But also, the couple of times I've had videos do some numbers on Instagram, it's usually like MAGA people coming in and like flooding the comments with hate and stuff. And it's like the weirdest shit. Like, I get them, I piss them off on TikTok too, but like, I don't know, the algorithm is so different. It feels to me like it's a I mean, yes, it's a fundamentally different app, but it's also just, even though so many of us are on both of them, it's like apples and oranges. It's day and night. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Type shit. Yeah.
It's really weird.
So I've always thought that Instagram is the soccer moms and TikTok is the soccer players.
I like
So
that.
I don't know if that's true.
I like that. That's a very dorky analogy. I like it. I like it.
I post to Facebook and IG and YT, and to me, I get the most crazy those MAGA responses, but like also like conspiracy flat Earth stuff on Facebook, and
Yeah.
nothing against the flat Earthers. Heaven forbid I anger those people anymore. But every time I mention something to do with space, first you can't get past the firmament, and Trump was brought back to life from a shot to his ear to go, which did it actually get hit? Whatever. And then and so he has to be president because God saved his life. So I can't.
God. I will say I love flat earthers. I have a lot of fun with flat earthers. Oh, thank you, Dan. I'm sorry that we didn't hear. I hope the rest of your laundry goes well. I'm sorry we didn't hear more from you.
Dude, they spend a lot of time on white TV.
I was in a live once with somebody who was saying Hillary Clinton admitted the firmament is real when she gave her 2016 acceptance speech because she talked about the glass ceiling.
Oh my god.
And I couldn't.
Oh my
My brain like broke into a million pieces trying to explain what the glass ceiling metaphor means.
I get to a point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for my content, I have to stay middle ground. I don't try to take sides because I mostly just do kind of like fun content.
Mm-hmm.
But when I do talk about politics, I want to make sure that hey, you guys know this guy was lying. You can assume who I'm talking about. But you know he's lying about these things, right? And then I want to show them because they don't know he's lying. They believe everything he's saying. So like I have to show them the proof.
Yeah. That's kind of what we do here. I mean, it always looks very different. And I don't always do debate lives, but when I do like a discussion debate live and stuff, usually it's like pretty free flowing where people will come up. I'll invite people up who like disagree with me, not necessarily MAGA, but it's usually MAGA. And I'll just ask them, you know, like, okay, what do you want to talk about? And they'll usually want to talk about Kamala, about Trump, about whatever, like, and they'll usually specifically have a thing. And so we'll talk to them, and what we do here is like we go point by point. We take our time, right? And I like to basically, I want to hear them out because usually, and then I can fact check, right? Like usually they have information that's either like incorrect information or there's like it's usually misinformation that is at the root of their like beliefs, but also some of it is just like basic like logic, right? Where they've kind of reached this conclusion even though they have like all the correct information, but like there's something that's kind of tripping up. And so I like to go step by step and be like, okay, you know, and like examine the logic of it and whatnot. So it's kind of like, yeah, we try to figure out where's the lie, where's the misinformation that is like, you know, whatever. It is interesting. Some people are willing to see that. Some people are willing to see that their information is incorrect. Many people are not.
Yeah, they get offended.
Oh yeah, they get very upset.
Yeah. Very.
I followed everybody over.
Spooky Mulder. MAGA is famously responsive to fact checks. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, famously willing to admit mistakes. Yep. Yeah. Well, that's the thing also. And I'm also like I'll be the first to say I don't think I will ever change someone's mind. I don't think that that's how that works. The only person who can change your mind is like yourself. Like you have to choose, you have to make a conscious decision that you are willing to change your mind first, and then, you know, before you're actually going to do it. And like usually in my experience, the way that happens is like pressure builds up, you know, you start getting a lot of conflicting information or information that maybe like contradicts your beliefs, and at a certain point someone's going to introduce you to a question that you're going to start asking yourself, right? But I think most minds are changed in like the privacy of one's own home when you're just thinking about your own stuff yourself, right? So it's like the goal isn't really to sit here and get someone to be like, you know what, you're right, or like, you know what, I agree with you. The goal is like, let's go through your information, let's fucking fact check it, let's have a debate, sure, let's have a discussion. I'm gonna call you out on the bullshit, but the ultimate goal is for that person, or maybe even more likely people in the chat, to hear something, to hear that something that they also thought was true is actually being fact checked, is being proven incorrect, and they're hearing questions that they can then like hold on to for later and then ask themselves later. I think the most empowering thing you can do to someone is give them the questions that they need to ask themselves. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But it's not nearly as fun as people acknowledging that they've changed their mind.
No, but you always your lives are like the Socratic method. That's why I like them. It's always like, let's ask more questions. Let's dive into that. No matter how kooky it seems to me.
Kooky? It
I
seems
dig
kooky to you?
No, how kooky that person's like claim is. You're always like, let's dive in.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Gotcha. I thought you were saying like, yeah. Sorry, Chase is saying, please, 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 can you kick the people who are not doing anything?
I think he wants to get into the live.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, I can jump down.
He seems cool.
No,
no, it's
Christian,
alright.
we haven't heard from you at all.
Yeah,
Are you up
we
here?
haven't heard from Christian, so.
Christian?
Oh, my bad. I was listening. I was really into the movie discussion because I was thinking to myself, like, yeah, like the slate of blockbusters is really slowed down. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah.
Really.
Well,
But,
it's the same.
Yeah, Andrew also works in the film industry, by the way. He's a composer for film and TV.
I feel like movie industry is just like releasing films in like the prime like of summer, like June, July.
Yeah,
but that's just
summer releases are usually some of the biggest. There's like a couple of dates in the year that are like known as the biggest like release dates. I used to know them, but like Christmas Day is one of them, and there's a couple summer releases are pretty big as well. But the
Yeah, but
yeah,
I don't know. Like I just keep thinking about like what is a blockbuster now? Like what like you even look at the movies that are coming out, Alien Romulus and a few other ones. Some of them get a little buzz, but where are the blockbusters now? Like
Exactly.
well
who's
I
like the
think
next generation Tom Cruise now that's gonna like pull demos from like huge demos from like China and Eastern Europe, like people that can really bring in like big crowds like that can get real global numbers. Like you see a lot of little stuff, a lot of Netflix, a lot of
No, but I'll tell
Hulu.
you exactly why that person doesn't exist. Because there's no longer a mid-budget films being made. There's no longer mid-budget films. That's like 30 million to 100 million. That
Yeah,
those films have disappeared. We're talking
yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know what I
stuff
mean? Like
like that.
those movies have disappeared,
Oh
and
yeah,
so has the incubator for the Tom Cruise and the Tom Hanks and those iconic stars. So now you have these huge. It's either like 13 million or less, or 100 million and more. And if you're the star of a 100 million and more movie that flops, your career is over. There's no like mid level that is.
I would
It's like the
disagree
middle
with you.
class being hollowed out. Like there's nowhere for like the next Tom Cruise to be incubated and like
Yeah.
fail and try a little bit and build a career.
yeah.
But I
All
think I
those.
heard Brenda wanted to disagree, so I'm
Well,
interested to
I
hear it.
just in that
Mhm.
just because you're the star of a movie and it flops, it doesn't mean there's a lot of celebrities that are in flops and their careers are not over. Um, in fact, there's a lot of male. It's this is what bothers me. Male directors like who will often get their first opportunity to direct a film will often like not all to be clear, but you'll see like a lot of like big movies like certain Star Wars films, certain like smaller Marvel films, certain, big films that are not quite firstly the blockbusters that you're wondering about, they're Marvel films now. But like a lot of cishet white male
Scott.
directors will be given an opportunity on a pretty big film and it will often completely be bust. It will fail, but they will be given a second opportunity. And I know this just out of like other, obviously looking at that in other context, but yeah, I agree with you, Andrew, that like the middle class, so to speak, of film budgets is absolutely gone. It's like it almost all goes to existing IP. So like
Yeah.
Marvel movie type stuff
Can I
or
ask y'all a question?
whatever. Yeah, what's up?
What do y'all define? Do y'all define failure as like it doesn't make a lot of money, or like it is like panned like critically by audiences and stuff like that? Like, what
I'm
do y'all
seeing a
see as
lot of
failure?
both.
Well,
I'm seeing a lot of bad stuff out there.
in the film industry, failure is defined almost like the industry side of it, like what gets made and
Right.
stuff. It's almost exclusively defined by the amount of money it makes. Um, because the whole reason, and I've kind of explained this before, the reason it feels like every movie that comes out now is like every other movie, and like we're getting the same like 5 movies, maybe 10 movies over and over and over again, and it's all just IP and it's remakes and it's sequels and it's prequels and it's all that kind of stuff, is because film movies are expensive to make, and in order to get the actual artists and creatives in films don't have that money. You need investors, and investors work like just ultimately on ROI, return on investment. It's a purely financial uh, thing for them, right? And what they want is there are companies out there that literally do the math on like they will look at a screenplay and they'll be like this genre with this many characters set in this type of setting where the protagonist is this actor, the protagonist is that actress, that whatever will make you exactly this amount of money. And by exactly, it's like an estimate of this amount of money. And if you pair this actor with this actress, this actor suddenly becomes worth more. This actress is only worth X amount in this genre, but she's worth that, a different amount in another genre. And it's all basically it's like an equation. It's an algorithm ultimately. It used to be, it's very simple, but it's algorithmic. It is calculating what investments in the past have resulted in good returns for the investors. And that's what investors want. They want proven return on investment. And the only way you're going to get proven return on investment is by looking at stuff that has already been made, and or stuff that has those elements, which is why you see existing IP being used over and over and over and over again. Because if I have $500 million and I want to put it towards movies, which are an inherently risky investment, I want to put it towards something I know for a fucking fact is going to do well. You know what that is? It's another Spider-Man trilogy. It is. So,
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of the Batman movies, right? Like, you can't not make the money.
right.
Like, Batman's gonna make
Yeah.
like a ridiculous amount of money. So you literally, like, it would be, malpractice not to make a Batman movie every 3 or 4 years.
Sure.
But like, Alien Romulus feels like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy of a great film.
Right.
And I just, at least with the Batman movies, they try to do something new. They try to add something like culturally relevant.
I mean, and someone can argue that they'll be doing the same thing with Alien Romulus, but ultimately, Alien Romulus is the same as the fucking fourth iteration of a Batman trilogy. It really is just like, we're so used to seeing superheroes being done over and 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 over again. Like, we are like, oh, that's different. That's different from like, oh, Alien being like resurrected. But it's not. There's no reason why superheroes need to be why there needs to be a current iteration of every superhero at any given moment. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason. And that is a relatively new thing, right? That's a relatively new thing in the last couple of decades. In fact, before a couple of decades ago, superhero stuff did not do well. Or at least that was like the belief, right? The overarching belief is like comic book stuff is things for dorks. It's not necessarily mainstream. It's not really going to make you that much money in movies. Sometimes it'll make you money in TV, which is why you had like the old kind of Batman TV show. But there was like an era where Batman was a really fucking dorky thing. And Batman to me is one of the ones that like has been around the most consistently through different decades. But yeah, like a few decades ago, superhero stuff was not seen as the moneymaker that it is today. And now we're like, well, obviously you're going to have a new iteration of Batman every decade. But it's not. It's the same as having Alien Romulus. It is.
Wait.
I wouldn't.
Has anyone in here seen Alien Romulus?
No.
Yeah, I have.
I thought it was so much fun. I had so much fun. It was a joyful time at the movie theater.
Yeah, I'm saying this not knowing if it's good or bad.
That's not. I thought it was. I felt really bad for the actors involved. I felt like that's how I felt watching it. I felt like the acting was stilted and weird, and I felt like the writing was lazy. I felt like they pretty much copy and pasted the last couple scenes from the very first movie. Like
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I didn't like it. I felt like it was lazy. I felt like they could have done better. I felt like Prometheus was like a kind of like, not a great attempt, but an attempt at doing something new. It wasn't just like Alien versus Predator, where you're just slapdashing some nonsense together and creating a thriller. Like, Prometheus was trying to say something intellectual, and I feel like Alien Romulus just wasn't. Like, I don't know, but that's just
yeah. But Prometheus and Covenant like bombed terribly and lost
I don't
money.
remember.
Yeah,
I don't particularly remember
yes.
Prometheus being very good. Personally, I don't remember it being. I don't know. I haven't seen it in.
No, I don't think it was
I
good
liked
at
them
all.
all.
Like,
I liked them all. I
was...
like Alien Resurrection. I liked them all. And I had a blast with Romulus, even though it was kind of a return to form. I didn't see it as a copy, more of like how the Force Awakens was a return to form for Star Wars for a new generation of people who might come into the franchise from that movie. I didn't see it as a copy. More like what's the difference between a copy and an homage? You know what I'm saying?
Type shit. Yeah.
I feel like a copy is. I feel like a
Prometheus,
copy's
by the way, Prometheus
lazy.
Prometheus is not. I'm just looking at it. It's got 73% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not like panned, but also it was a successful film. It made
No, it didn't make a lot.
It made $403.4 million at the box office against a budget of $130 million in 2012.
I think well then maybe it was Covenant that kind of bombed, but it didn't make as much as they wanted to make or something. Because it was that.
Possible.
So Prometheus, Covenant was supposed to be 1 and 2 of a trilogy, and there was supposed to be a third movie that connected to Alien, which was Ridley Scott's first film. Ridley Scott was doing a prequel trilogy, and because I think it was Covenant, I guess, just totally bombed.
Is it Covenant?
Or Alien Covenant. It's called Alien Covenant.
I'm like,
No,
which I love. I mean, I love them all. Like, there's not an Alien movie that I don't like.
So Alien Covenant
for real.
made $240 million worldwide against a budget of $97 million. Yeah, so that it was success. It was not very successful. It was not like a huge.
But the thing about these big budget movies is, if you spend 97, basically 100 million to make it, you have to. What they do is they double that cost of making it to market it, and so they have to make over 200 million to then start making a profit.
The budget,
and there's so much more. Yeah,
the budget is usually includes the marketing stuff. I believe so.
Not when it's reported. No, the marketing costs are on top of the budget. The budget is just the cost of making it. The marketing cost is double the budget.
I just know that, like, I mean, because I have friends who work on that level, or I mean, not quite obviously this level, but like on a higher level where they do include like I forget what they call it, like there's some fucking abbreviation that they use for what is the actual just like promotional stuff, and that is part of the like calculation against box office. But let me see.
I really do apologize. I have to get going, but you guys all have a great night. You're all amazing, and thank you.
Thank you for hopping on. Nice to meet you.
You're all incredibly intelligent, and I'm just inspired by all of you. Seriously, thank you.
Likewise.
I love you. Good night.
Thanks for coming on. Let me see.
Oh, that's interesting. No, and Andrew is totally right about the at least about the trilogy thing. That is absolutely true. Prometheus didn't do even Prometheus didn't do what they wanted it to do, because they wanted it to revitalize the series, bring it back to what it was, but they went a different direction, and I respect that. I mean, I just loved. I always think especially when I looked at Romulus, I thought about what the franchise would have been like if they went the other direction and continued with the trilogy and went with something related to what Prometheus like added. But I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
Well, it's still all connected. Like, there's apparently some Easter egg. They're going to do a sequel to. I think they're going to do a sequel to Romulus. There's an Easter egg where after Aliens, or after Alien, that her Ripley's shuttle docked at the Romulus space station. Apparently, did you see this? So apparently, her space station, like her shuttle, docked at that space station, and then was ejected before it exploded. Spoiler alert! It's not that much of a spoiler. So and then continued on its path. So that explained why it was like why it was gone for so many years between Alien and Alien 2. But it all connects. I mean, it's I saw it as like a soft reboot for the franchise more than like an homage. But also, like, I know people who work for Lauren Balfe, and like he's such a fan of the Goldsmith score and Horner's score for Aliens, and so I know so much love went into that movie that I have a hard time thinking of it as a copy.
Yeah. No, but I I do kind of. I was thinking about what you were saying before about no middle class movies, and I I don't know. I miss them.
Jacaris. Hi.
Well, I
Well,
mean,
they're all
or
the thing
maybe
about them
maybe
is
they're just in a
they're all
different
going to
format
Netflix
now.
now. Like,
Yeah, they're on
yeah, all the
Netflix now.
mid-budget movies are going to Netflix. Like,
And Netflix
what's that
doesn't
one that had Glenn Powell and
Twisters.
Sydney Sweeney? Well, Twisters was a
Twister.
big
Twist.
theater movie.
Yeah,
But what's
Twister
the
was
one that had
huge.
Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, and it was like
I
kind of a
don't
Oh,
know.
the rom
rom-com?
com.
Know what you're talking about though.
Yeah, that's where the mid-budgets they all go to streaming now.
Ish.
Yeah.
But the streaming doesn't do that many mid-budget. If we're talking between 30 and 100 million, it like Netflix will do a couple of those, but mostly Netflix because it wants more content. It wants like sheer. Thank you, Non. It wants like it. The problem is like it's like there's a race to the bottom, right? Like Netflix and more, by the way, like lately, where that's why there's so much more reality on streamers, like now than there was, a couple years ago, whatever, 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
It's cheap.
It's cheap, yeah, and they're realizing like, oh, people, they're now it's like a rate now because there's so many streamers, and it's not about like getting movie like it's not so much that like all studios movies are on Netflix and it's like all this bigger competition. Now everyone's kind of racing to have the like widest sort of library, the biggest library to keep people on the apps longer so that they don't cancel at the end of every month. And the best way to do that is to just spend a lot on fucking cheap stuff. And Netflix keeps going lower and lower and lower and like wanting more and more like it wants quantity over quality more and more, but it will give like a large budget to a like a very big name like once or twice a year just to be able to be like, hey, look, Scorsese's next movie is a Netflix movie. You know what I mean? And it's like, but famously, like Scorsese, when he did, what was the thing that he did? The fucking bullshit. I refuse to watch it. The
Flower Moon.
No, not Flower
Something
Moon.
of the Flower Moon.
No, the Netflix one.
No,
no, The Irishman.
The Irishman.
That
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
That was like famously the biggest budget that Netflix had ever done, and like they basically gave him a blank check, and he made this film, and it was like it went well beyond what it needed to cost. It was like quite self-indulgent. I know a lot of people liked it. I guess maybe I did watch it. It was like the most sort of like fuck you to him because he had a few years earlier been like, no, like real movies, if the movie comes out on Netflix, it's not a real movie. And so it was like a big sort of get for Netflix. But they ended up spending so much fucking money on that movie that like other productions, they literally like had to cut tons from other productions, from smaller productions. And they did the same, by the way, with fucking David Fincher. David Fincher, like, I want to say, like, he almost bankrupted them, but, like, he didn't literally, but they give a couple of big names blank checks to basically buy the legitimacy and have the big name, and they starve all the other filmmakers. It's a very different model than what it was when it first started. Not that when it first started it was, like, a shining beacon of, like, whatever, but, like, yeah.
Well, they wanted to win Best Picture. Netflix wanted at that point to win Best Picture
with a Scorsese
for them.
film.
It's like, yeah, exactly. They were just like,
but mainly
pumping
because
money into.
Scorsese
That's why
was
they
like,
bought
it's
the
not a
Egyptian.
real movie. Yeah. I'm just saying,
No,
it's mainly like it's like a marketing thing for them. You know what I mean? Mainly.
Yeah, but Scorsese was kind of giving them the finger too, in the sense that like he knew what they wanted, and he also wanted to say with his film, look, like this is what the death of cinema looks like. And I mean, I feel like he accomplished that in a way, and made some money. So
I don't know that he was trying to say this is what the death of cinema looks. I don't know, but it was more. I think he more was just like, oh, you want to get me? You got to give me everything I asked for. And then he didn't take it seriously enough, and I think it was very self-indulgent. It was an incredibly self-indulgent thing where he used up a shit ton of money that didn't need to be used up to make a self-indulgent project. And it was mainly because he was like, it was elitism at its finest. It was elitist shit, and like Netflix played into it because they just wanted to get Scorsese, who a few years earlier had famously said like Netflix movies are not real movies, or like he had basically campaigned against allowing films that didn't have like open in theaters against being
Correct. That's the one.
allowed to win Academy Awards and stuff. Like he and a couple of the old guys. It's all elitist bullshit. And yeah, he was like,
But the Academy has not changed that rule, and that's why Netflix bought the Egyptian Theater on Hollywood Boulevard, because so that they can it's called four-walling. They can four-wall their movies to still qualify them for the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, it's why now we have the digital and like theatrical release, like simultaneous releases happening so often, because
Those are so crazy. Like seeing those on like a movie comes out in theaters and then it's also on HBO, and I'm like, why would I leave my house?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. That's
I
wild.
mean, I understand. Yeah, and like the thing is, but like people want to go for an event, right? Like if the movie is good enough and exciting enough, people will absolutely show up. Absolutely. But yeah, part of the thing that's also hurting Hollywood is like, firstly, it's super fucking elitist. It's super elitist to expect people whose minimum wage has like barely gone up over the past however many fucking decades at this point to pay $30 a fucking movie ticket. I don't know where it is, how much it is, like where you guys are, but here it's basically between 20 and $30 like a movie ticket at this point, often. And like to go watch, to like leave their home, watch a movie. People are working longer hours than ever. They're paying higher gas prices than ever. They like their wages have not gone up. They're like everything is more expensive, including movies. And you want them to take the time out to show up to a fucking theater, sit through the thing, probably not even afford fucking snacks, like let's be real, and all that when they are more and more often ingesting more of their media on a small as fuck screen. Like humans are now used to ingesting most of their media on this. So they don't need the big screen. They're perfectly happy watching it on their TVs now, especially when you take everything else into account. And it's like, and for Hollywood to act like that's not the way the world is going. Like Hollywood has also been super resistant to like celebrity of any other type. Like Hollywood is like was really resistant to allowing like influencers into a lot of its events and stuff. It has been lately, but there's like a lot of elitism there, and there's a lot of like rejection of this new era of media. And I don't know. I think Hollywood is fucking suffering in part because of that. I don't think that's the like cause of all its issues. Obviously the streaming wars are, but like, you know, it's just not doing itself any favors by trying to hold on to or insisting that people want things that they can't afford just because they're better, when people are just getting more and more used to alternatives. You know what I mean?
I was actually thinking about something that some I don't I think it was uh what's his name? Some actor was talking about something that Denzel told him, Denzel Washington. He was like, you know, the reason why the reason why a fan will react different to you than to me, this is Denzel speaking, is because they're used to seeing you on a small screen on a TV, and they're used to seeing me on a big screen, like in a movie theater. And he was trying to like inform him on like, you know, project choices and like how to market yourself better so that you gain the prestige of uh you know, a movie actor, a movie star. And it's like, I feel like that's part of the reason why, you know, we just lost that idea, is that we're all used to seeing all of our actors on small screens.
Yeah.
Like, so it's
I mean, I feel
takes
like
away the majesty of it.
that is good advice, but like 20 years, not even 20 years ago, like 25 years ago, right? That's great advice 25 years ago. But I think that like when I was in film school, for example, when I said that I wanted to go into TV, because I was in film school right at the start of the golden age of TV. So I had been watching Mad Men for a couple of years at that point, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, and like I grew up like not being allowed to watch a lot of TV or movies, just to be clear. But I like had started watching these, like House was a big one, and Mad Men definitely a big one, and there's a couple of TV shows. Breaking Bad started coming out right around then, that where I was like, oh my god, like TV is absolutely like this incredible medium. Like if I want to go into movies, TV is even more expansive in a lot of ways. But when I said in film school at NY fucking U, like, yeah, I would totally go into TV. People were like, you would do TV? Like, it was some elitist bullshit. Because even just 15 years ago...
But that mindset has changed for sure. But go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry,
but that's my point. That mindset has changed. So, like, Denzel saying that to a TV actor back when... Because Denzel, like, I studied... that we watched Denzel movies at film school. What was Training Day? Is that his fucking huge one? I can see him saying that to an actor 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and it would have been absolutely true. Like, if you want to be a movie star, you gotta be a movie star. You gotta be in movies. You gotta avoid the TV stuff. TV is like, you don't want to do that. But now, all the biggest stars, like, want to be in TV, especially ever since the golden era of television. TV is absolutely the goal for many of them because it's a steady check, but it's also
where the money is. Yeah,
it's where the money is, but it's also viewed like much more favorably than it was 20 years ago, and you get more FaceTime with people. Like, people connect to your characters much more than they do to like movie characters. Like, now this whole idea that you have to be in movies to be a real star but not TV, that's gone. That's wrong.
It's gone. Brandon, let me just tell you. Yeah. Oh, sorry. The DGA minimum for a director to direct an episode of television, like an hour-long drama, is $40,000. You'd be lucky to make that on some like indie feature film. That wouldn't happen. Yeah. So it's totally changed.
Yeah.
$40,000 for one episode of TV. That's 3 weeks, 4 weeks of your life.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And it's shifted. My point is also, like, it has shifted so much, this idea of old Hollywood and movies being the ultimate, like, form of this type of storytelling. It has changed already. Like, from 15 years ago, it was already so different. And now most people will agree, like, yeah, television is, like, especially after the golden era, like the golden age of television and stuff, absolutely, stars would love to be in TV. And
I straight up make sorry.
No, yeah, say.
Well, I straight up make like a supplemental income from the NBC show that I scored and the Lifetime movie that I worked on, and those came out in 2021, and I'm still getting residuals every quarter from those films, or from the film and the show and the series doing reruns. It's like, I want more TV. I'm telling my manager I want more TV.
Yeah, exactly. And like, also, that's a great point also, because before the golden age of television, TV only really made money if it got syndicated. And so it was like very rare that people were actually making like that much money from TV, unless it was one of those like one with staying power, like Seinfeld, right? Like, famously one of the longest running TV shows, not the longest running, whatever, like in terms of syndication. But now, but we are seeing another like further shift, right? Like, even away from a lot of TV, because the TV model has changed incredibly in 15 years, in 20 years. Like, we went through the whole, everything's speeding up. All these shifts are speeding up. Now we've gone through all this. We're deep into the streaming wars, and it's like, and people are still like resistant. And by people, I mean Hollywood is still resistant to the idea that not only has like TV now become the sort of almost bigger thing in many ways than movies, but also like even smaller stuff is also replacing it in a lot of places, right? Like most young people get their news from TikTok now, from social media. They don't get it from TV news, which is nuts, right? And Hollywood just like Hollywood just isn't ready. It's not accepting it, just like it didn't accept that TV was coming. It was like it's all elitist bullshit and it's not keeping up with it. And it's the industry's shifting and Hollywood has to shift if it wants to keep up, I think. Anyway, that's it.
I think well, it depends. The studios aren't shifting fast enough,
Yeah.
but Hollywood as a whole, like all the workers and all the people, they're shifting.
I mean,
they're on
yes.
the. Yeah.
I mean more than just like the studios and stuff, not the workers, not the film industry. When I say the film industry mainly to mean all of us, and like Hollywood to mean the studios. That's how I know.
Gotcha. I have a different view of it because to me Hollywood is a union town. It's like a middle class, like blue collar town.
Yeah.
But we're all like fighting against the studios. But I know that if you're not here, you think of Hollywood as like the big guys and like the studios. But if you were to move here, you'd see.
Also just because I'm in New York City and we have a film industry, but it's not. New York is so TV and commercial heavy, you know what I mean? Like, and short form heavy. So like the film industry exists here as well. It's not Hollywood, but New York actually exists more in that realm of like this short form stuff. And like New York might actually fare pretty well considering these like shifts. Like, if you
I do commercial work for Fox Entertainment all the time. And they're all based in New York. It's commercials there and stuff.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about that. New York, it really is like positioned to do relatively well for during the streaming stuff. Except the problem is also like because if we're also doing the shift towards social media, right? Like another thing is like social media it favors not like favors people who are doing this from their homes, right? I mean, there's a gazillion different ways social media is done. There's a gazillion different types of content, but it is truly like a democratized and quite relatively accessible platform. Obviously, people with money do better than people without. But in that case, being in a place like New York City, you don't have to be in New York City. You don't have to be in LA to make content like that. You can be in a place where space is more affordable. Like acreage is more affordable and stuff. And yeah, it's just interesting. Like, because if you think about commercials too, like commercials used to be it used to be that you had to hire a crew and do all this stuff, and now people are filming incredibly beautiful commercials at home on their fucking phone. It's crazy. It's nuts the way the landscape is changing and so quickly.
I always tell people because like my mom wants me desperately to move to Atlanta because that'd be closer to Virginia, where my parents live. And the truth is you can film stuff anywhere, and people do. Most of the Marvel movies, for example, are filmed in Atlanta. Walking Dead almost exclusively was filmed in Atlanta. Dexter was filmed in New Orleans, for example. Like no matter where they were in the world, it was always somewhere in Louisiana. But when it comes to post production, like all the movies and commercials, mostly wherever they're filmed, mostly I'll say end back up in Los Angeles for like sound, editing, music, and Foley and stuff like that. So it's like where I need to be is I need to be here.
Yeah.
But that is very easily changing. I don't tell people where I actually live, but I no longer live in Los Angeles County. I live very close to the county, but for financial, like I couldn't have,
I should ask
we
you
couldn't.
Where
we
that
basically
is,
were like,
because I would love to.
You should
like near LA, basically in LA, without having to pay to be in LA. You know what I mean?
We found the last affordable place that is this close to LA, and we bought a house here for $330,000.
Damn, what?
And we're 90 minutes. I'm a 90-minute drive. I went down to Sony a couple weeks ago for a general meeting, and it took me 90 minutes to get there. No big deal. So yeah, it's like it's like the best kept secret of Southern California. I'll tell you about it in a DM, but I don't like to tell people where I actually live because
No, for
there's some
obvious
creepers
reasons.
for the Winnie the Pooh horror. There's some creepers
Oh
who've
boy,
given
I'm
me
sure.
death threats because I've worked on that movie.
Yeah. Yep, I'm
How's
sure.
traffic?
Traffic from here is literally non-existent because I'm going against the flow when I go down to LA. So, yeah,
Sounds like heaven.
dude, it's pretty great.
Well, I was
and
gonna
and the
say.
cool thing is, yeah.
Sorry, finish.
Oh, I mean, I was just telling Ashley about this. Like, we're in an interesting place where like we're close to like a bunch of airports, so we have so many options as to where we can fly from when we fly out to like the East Coast to visit our family.
I think I'm starting to like, because you say drive down to LA, by a bunch of airports. I think so. I assume one of those is gonna be Burbank. Am I right?
Yeah, I'll send you a DM about it. I'll text you.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me exactly where you live. I'm just saying, yeah, that's the area, general area, I guess. And whatever, it doesn't matter. What was I gonna say? By the way, love Burbank Airport. Love flying out of there. It's the best. Fuck, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I was gonna say that yes, but I've also have you filmed? No, you haven't because you're in post. I was gonna say I have filmed in New Orleans and in Atlanta, and Atlanta, like, yes, it's great for. It's being used by blockbusters, big like Marvel stuff, Walking Dead, whatever. But because Atlanta, like, out of nowhere, started getting big because it was basically they set up the like film commission, the like tax things, and to try to get more filming stuff coming down. And they got big projects. It sucks for lower budget stuff. It sucks because everything is priced for Marvel movies, because that's the only experience they have. They have like no experience working with smaller productions and stuff. And they don't have, there's a lot of like infrastructure missing, like trucks. Like there's nowhere to park equipment trucks. And that makes sense for Marvel movies because you're gonna like, it doesn't, you have like a whole caravan of trucks, and you're gonna literally, they're gonna, wherever they are, they're gonna be there overnight, and you're literally pay people to stay with the trucks overnight. But like for smaller productions, you gotta park the truck somewhere in a like guarded lot because of the like millions of dollars of equipment in the fucking truck and stuff, and that doesn't exist in Atlanta yet. It's not part of the very basic. And when you talk to rental companies who will like maybe rent you like a gear truck, or rent you a truck that you can put gear on, like even the rental companies don't have like a lot that they will let you park in. It's wild. It's like the weirdest stuff there just isn't conducive to smaller stuff. And now people outside of it, like in Georgia but outside of Atlanta, are figuring it out, and there is like these small, actually there were, I should say, like during like leading up to the pandemic and stuff, but the pandemic knocked out again like a lot of smaller companies, so I don't know what it's like there now. But yeah, and then Louisiana is kind of the opposite. Louisiana is fucking great for smaller indie stuff, which is why you see a lot of like indie films filming in Louisiana, even if it doesn't like explicitly say that they're in New Orleans and stuff. Like you can just tell. But also there's a lot of stuff set in New Orleans now, a lot of like indie stuff set in New Orleans because of that. But
That's cool.
yeah. Nas, stop trying to dox Andrew.
It's fine. There's only 19.
Have
But
you
they're
guys
wrong.
seen?
I mean, they're wrong in all that places. So in like Burbank, the average house price is like 800,000 now.
Burbank
so.
is expensive. No, but I just figured you would be north of Burbank. I'm just saying, when you say a lot of airports, I assume one of them is Burbank because you said north, right?
I love Burbank. I was flown a film festival in Rochester, New York. Flew me and one of the directors out
Nice.
and they flew us out of Burbank, and it was like the easiest airport experience of my life. I showed up in an Uber. I got through. There's like one security gate, and then there's like 5 gates, and it was like I got a
So good.
bagel and like a coffee. I was just chilling. It was like
I love
I was like, how am I in a small town right now? It was the best.
I love Burbank. Love it. So, I mean, as an airport, I haven't spent much time in like Burbank proper, but like Burbank Airport is the fucking best to fly out of. It's the best.
Burbank is my favorite part of LA. When we lived in LA, we lived in Sherman Oaks, which is like adjacent to Burbank and like Studio City. And I spent so much time in Burbank. Guillermo del Toro lives in Burbank. He calls Burbank, quote, the last, I think it's like vestitude or something of weirdos and freaks. And it's so true because when you go to like Magnolia Boulevard, like downtown Burbank, there's like Halloween Town, and they have like all year round Halloween stores, and like it's super fun. I love
That's
Burbank.
true. I have a couple of That's funny. I guess I think I've seen some of the Burbank Halloween stores. I have some friends who live out there. He's a cinematographer. She's a costume designer, and now she's a Twitch streamer too. But under wraps, like no one in her real life knows. And they are super obsessed with Halloween, and I think they're in the Sherman Oaks area, if I remember correctly. And yeah, they've done the whole. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, the Valley is a cool place to be. I like the Valley. We lived in Long Beach for a while, then we moved to the Valley.
Yeah.
I really liked the Valley, but essentially, like, we just wanted more space and fresh air and stuff. So
Yeah, it makes sense, honestly. Especially because you don't have to be like on set every day, which is like the dream, right? Like, yeah,
Totally.
You're in the area without having to be like in the fucking area. Culver City all the way. Is that where you live, Nas? Can I crash on your couch? That goes for you too, Andrew. Can I crash on your couch?
Always, totally. I like Culver City. That's where Sony is, and whenever I get the budget from the movies that I work on to afford a score mixer, and I don't have to do it myself, my score mixer lives in Culver.
Oh, nice. I have someone who lives there. I think he got his first house there. He's like an actor, so he got money. I think it's Culver City. Yeah, it's by Sony. Yes, that's a little bit more central, right? Like, but also like slightly south, slightly east. No, west.
Yeah, it's southwest. It's directly west of Hollywood.
Yeah. Okay, I know where it is. Yeah.
And it's below the mount. It's below the mountain, the quote unquote mountains, the Hollywood Hills.
Yeah.
So it's not in the valley, but it's like it's basically like down the 405 from the valley, and then but it's not quite as west as Santa Monica.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah, I know where that is. I had my friends like house sat there once. Fucking mansion. Like obscene. That was cool. And I have a friend who like got a house there. And I have a friend who whenever he works with Michel Gondry, they work at some fucking studio there, probably Sony, but I don't know where. But yeah. The city before the Venice. Yeah. I would stay my apartment swapper, because we used to swap apartments for like months at a time. He lived in West Hollywood, so I would live in West Hollywood for like part of the year. Not my vibe, but when I would like stay with friends, I would they have like a second bedroom that I would stay, I would crash with them for a few days at a time. You can't really stay there. Would stay with friends for months at a time. They were in Los Feliz, so that's usually where I'll stay now if I go. I mean, I haven't been in ages, but when I go and I stay, crash with friends, it's Los Feliz. When I apartment swapped, it used to be West Hollywood, but he recently moved, so I haven't seen his new spot.
Los Feliz.
Los Feliz.
There's great contention as to how to say that. It's so funny.
Yes,
I refuse to say the LA way.
Los Feliz.
Because it's Los Feliz. It's Los
yeah,
Feliz.
Los Feliz. Yeah, but do you say Los Angeles?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't say Los Angeles because that's not how it's pronounced either.
Los Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
Angeles.
Yeah, Los Angeles.
That's fair. All right.
Santa Monica.
You got me.
Los Angeles. Florida. What else? What other Spanish names? Now you just made me want to really play LA
Sepulveda,
Noir.
dude. How would you say Sepulveda?
Sepulveda.
Everyone says Sepulveda. Yeah.
Sepulveda. No mames, te van a cancelar.
I don't know.
Enlightened, hi. Enlightened, I've decided I do want Vans. Sorry, keep going.
Los Feliz is hard for me because like it's so far from. It's people like literally say Las Velas here sometimes,
Las Velas.
and I'm like, it's so far from the
Fellas?
actual Spanish.
The fellas?
Las Velas.
Well, people who I've only
But I
ever
think-
heard it said Los Feliz.
Los Feliz. That's the most common one. Yeah.
Yeah, Los Feliz.
I like Los Feliz. I interned for a composer there. I interned for him while he worked on the Allegiant movies with what's her name? It was like Divergent.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking
Shailene
about?
Woodley. Yeah, Shailene Woodley.
Yes, exactly.
I once
Yeah.
met her, shook hands with her, had no and was like, I don't know if I was like drunk. It was at Tribeca, I think. No, not Tribeca. It was at the fucking Sundance. It was at Sundance, and at Sundance Tao, and we met. And we like shook hands, and she introduced herself. She said it differently because everyone says Shailene. It's actually like Shailene, and I think maybe she goes by Shay or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, Shailene Woodley. Yeah, Shailene. Yeah.
So she introduced herself. She did not look at all like herself. We like whatever, and she said her name, and she was like, "What?" And I didn't hear, and I was like, "What? Sorry." And she was like, "Shay" or whatever, Shailene. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Nice to meet you." And I realized like afterwards, like, oh wait, no, that was Shailene Woodley. But yeah, I didn't recognize her at all. I ignored her. I didn't ignore
She's
her.
very-
I shook her hand. I met her. She's very crunchy. She's very crunchy granola. But
Yeah, she's very anti, like on Instagram she'll like post and then she only has like 4 posts because she like deletes them.
yeah.
Sorry, she like deletes. She's very anti like celebrity in a weird way.
Yeah.
Maybe because she started when she was so young. She was on that show, like 17 and Pregnant. Or, it was like it wasn't the one that was a reality show. It was like an
Yeah.
an
I know what you're
FX.
saying.
You know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah.
It was like an ABC Family back when that was a thing, and it was like my 17-year-old pregnancy or something. I don't remember, but that's So she very much was like a teen when she got her big start, and I think a lot of those people are like they're kind of like anti-celebrity.
She's also just like when I say she's crunchy, she's like crunchy. Like she lived on a commune for a really long time. She's like all like natural remedies and stuff. She's gotten arrested at a couple of, pipeline things. She like doesn't. She's like weird. There's some interesting interviews. I haven't like watched all that many interviews, but I remember there was like one that went viral where she was talking about like herbal remedies about shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. She's crunchy. She's very crunchy. But yeah.
I think it's cool.
Hi, Remy. Yeah. Yeah. I know. The worst. The worst. All right. Should we? Oh, interesting. I just saw the message you sent me.
Look it up. Look it up. You have multiple phones now, or are you using like a webcam?
No, yeah, I'm on my computer on my laptop, which is why I feel like the quality must be lower now than it is when it's on my phone, right? Or not?
No, it doesn't. I mean, I guess if I'm really going to critique the resolution, maybe, but like audio and stuff is the same. So
yeah, audio is the same mic, but
I don't notice a difference really. It's a phone screen, so
okay, cool. That's good. I have because I can't see it. I can like view it now on here, but I never know what it looks like when I'm on my phone, obviously. So it's like
I'm the opposite, which is because TikTok has an app and you can use the browser on a Mac, but they don't have. I can't go live from my Mac, which is a bummer because I have
yeah.
like state of the art professional audio quality equipment. So I'd love to like play acoustic songs. I sometimes go live and play just like acoustic guitar for an hour or two. And
Yeah.
I'd love to do that from my computer because I can like put a little bit of reverb, I can EQ and do all that, make it sound really good, but I can't because I have a Mac.
You might be able to input that into the phone anyway.
Yeah, I'd have to buy. They have like what are they called? I'd have to buy a specific type of mixer and whatever it's called that plugs microphones and stuff into my. But it wouldn't be quite as this. It couldn't be quite because I have so many. I mean, I work in music and film and TV, so I have all this professional plugins on my computer that really sounds
but
nice.
I think it's more if you can figure out a way to make the computer basically the phone's mic. I'm not saying like a whole separate mixer, but there might be a way of making the computer, the mic, if that makes sense. And then you could just plug it in. Because like when I'm on my phone, I know it's different because it's just the mic, but I plug the mic in here. You know what I mean? And there might be a way of doing it. You just have to figure out how to get it out of the computer into the phone. But there might be a way to do it. Hi, Straight Edge. We're talking about tech stuff for Andrew. Audio output MacBook to iPhone.
So you guys both used to live in California?
I live in California currently.
You guys remember an old movie, Brick?
Brick?
Yeah.
No, I don't remember.
You don't remember Brick? It's like the famous like substances movie, substance dealing movie, right?
Yeah. 2005, Ryan Johnson. He was like he was a first time director. It was one of those passion projects.
Yeah.
Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, that was the director. It starred Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
I don't know.
Wait, Brick? It's called Brick? I thought
Yeah,
it was
Brick.
called something else.
Andrew,
it's the one with
you're gonna know that movie, yeah.
No, if it's the one with Bruce Willis.
No.
Ryan Johnson.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt was starring in it. Who was that? Who's that girl? Was it? Oh man, she just came out with a movie too. Oh man, I think like she's like the only black girl in the whole movie. She just came out with a movie. Oh crap, I can't remember now. I can't remember her name. Why am I blanking on her name? She was in. Was she in Scream? Ah.
What do this is a actress in Brick?
Yeah. The black girl.
Nora Zetner. Oh.
No.
Tracy Bitteroff.
No.
Megan
No.
Good,
Megan Good. Yes. Megan Good was in it. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, she's done a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about like I think I saw that movie at a really like impressionable time when I was a kid, and I was thinking about that when you guys were talking about California, and it always made me want to move to California because I always wanted to go to a high school like that and talk like that because they had their own lingo, their own like neo-noir kind of slang. So I just
It's a very famous and well-regarded movie for sure. Sorry, Elden3, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Sorry. Okay. Do you want to hop up?
I've got one personal story with Ryan Johnson.
Oh, do you?
Well, you know him?
No. I don't know him. I don't know him directly. I'm like one person removed from him. My friend Morgan. I guess at the time she worked for J.J. Abrams. She was J.J. Abrams' like assistant, and she worked on The Force Awakens, and therefore continued to work on the Star Wars franchise like after. So with Ryan, her name is Morgan Dameron. She's a good friend of mine.
Like Poe Dameron?
You might recognize. Exactly. I was about to say you might recognize that last name, Poe, because J.J. Abrams named one of her characters after her last name, Poe Dameron.
Poe Dameron.
And she's also in The Force Awakens. Like if you pause it at the right moment, she's one of the like comms people who like turns her head and like looks towards the camera, like full on like close up. So she has her own like Star Wars Wikipedia, Wikipedia page and everything for like whatever character name, even though she's on screen for like 2 seconds. It's fantastic. But so when The Last Jedi was released on digital, Ryan Johnson released a version of it. If you buy it on iTunes, and maybe some Blu-rays, I haven't checked, but the one that I own on iTunes, you can watch a score-only version of the movie, which is like no dialogue, no sound effects, just visuals and music. So I hosted a little watch party, and I invited a bunch of my friends, and Morgan was somebody who came. And what I did for that because I'm such a Last Jedi fan, like it's like one of my, aside from this original trilogy, like it's tied with Return of the Jedi for me as like my third favorite Star Wars movie. And in it, Luke drinks the controversial green milk. So I made like a matcha cocktail that was like matcha and milk and vodka and all this. And Morgan tweeted a picture of my matcha green milk cocktail to Ryan, and because they're friends, he retweeted or quote tweeted my picture. And the important part of this story is that for 3 weeks after him retweeting my picture, I was also tagged in all of the hate tweets that he got from like people calling him, saying that he ruined Star Wars and ruined their lives. I'm not kidding when I say one tweet lasted me 3 weeks of replies from people just replying to him about how much they hated him for the movie, Star Wars movie he made.
Fucking vicious. This is like, I mean, thank you. You kind of brought
It's
it full
so
circle.
insane.
This is what we were talking about at the beginning. People lose their shit over the dumbest stuff, and it's insane. It's insane.
And literally all it was Morgan saying, "Hey Ryan, look at this drink that Andrew Scott Bell made. We're watching your movie," or something, right? And then he quoted and was like, "Looks delicious." And people replied to that quote being like, "Fuck you! I hate you! You ruined my life with your movie." And it's like, what? It's so crazy, dude. It took me 3 weeks to stop getting alerts on my Twitter account from that repost or whatever. So stupid.
That is nuts.
It's the fanatics. It is what it is.
People will use any excuse to be like, to get fucking nuts. For sure.
Yeah, that's there's a reason fans are called fanatics, and that's an example of one, I guess. You're right, Christian. Fanatics.
I only lose my cool about things that are 100% really important, like sports and hot dogs.
Sports and hot dogs. Are you
Wait, were we having an argument about hot dogs with somebody? Is that you? Are you the one? Are you the one who was doing the hot dog? I can't remember. We were arguing about hot dogs. It was you. Talk about full circle.
I
That's
didn't
bringing
even
it first
recognize
full circle from
your
like five
voice.
weeks ago.
Oh, it's because I was laying down.
Yeah, exactly, Jazzy. Oh, that's what it was? Okay. God, it's like I've got a Pavlovian thing. Now I want to drink some fucking...
Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. For caffeine. Would that be stupid? Should I drink it to
No.
stay up all night?
No.
Oh, and we had
There's
this
some mood
conversation.
lighting going on this time. This is really interesting.
We were testing the camera, and it's like...
What was the tech problem that Andrew's trying to work out?
We're trying to figure out how... Because he's got all these, like, cool mixing thingies on his computer. And I want to see if there's a way for him to simply or cheaply output the audio from his MacBook to his iPhone.
You can't output to an iPhone.
It would have to go out of my audio interface headphone jack, so I get the stereo image into my USB 3 because I have an iPhone 15. Like there would have to be some weird cord that goes headphone out and into my USB-C.
Well, you could do either an XLR or an 1/8 inch into a Bluetooth receiver and then plug the Bluetooth receiver into your phone.
That's a thing.
Yeah, wait. Wouldn't there be a lag? With XLR, so XLR would be the XLR outputs of my receiver.
So if you're doing headphones, it's 1/8
inch.
Studio. If it's headphones, it's 8s.
No, not on. It's
Are
quarter,
quarter
because it's a. Hold on, let me go down to my studio. I'll show you.
You could do a 1/4 inch to 1/8 inch and 1/8 inch to Bluetooth, and then Bluetooth receiver to your phone.
Well, I think there's also, just because, like, well, I guess, yeah, because I'm thinking my phone, so I don't know for a fact for you. But, like, for example, like a Zoom, right? Like a Zoom recorder, and that's, like, the most basic recorder / mixer thing. But you can use that as a mixer and then output that technically into a MacBook, or I believe technically into one of these guys.
I think you could actually do it through GarageBand too.
Well, I have Logic, and for Zoom videos, I use, when I Zoom with a director, I use a software called Loopback, so that I can make the input for Zoom be the output of Logic. But I don't know how to I can't think of a way to get it out of the computer. What I'm saying is I could use Loopback if TikTok made a Mac version of their Windows app, I could easily use Loopback to make it the mic input, to make the output of my DAW.
What DAW are you using? Logic?
Yeah, Logic 11, I guess now, but yeah, Logic 10, it's Logic X, but 11, I think it's now.
You should be able to output. What kind of mixer are you using? A Focusrite preamp?
Yeah, 18i20. It's this one here.
Yeah. So if you're using Focusrite, that's an 1/8 inch headphone out.
That's what I'm saying. Yep, that's what I was saying.
Yeah. So if you do 1/8 inch headphone out, you could do an 1/8 inch direct to a Bluetooth receiver. The Bluetooth receiver to the iPhone.
Wait, isn't it a 1/4 inch? It's not an 1/8 inch.
No, it should be an 8. Is it 1/4 inch? Hold up. I got mine over here. Let me go look.
Yeah, that's the 1/4 inch.
Oh, it is 1/4 inch. I have an adapter. I'm so stupid. Yeah, so 1/4 inch adapter to 1/8 inch, 1/8 inch to Bluetooth receiver to your iPhone.
That sounds really confusing. There's no lag? There wouldn't be a lag?
There shouldn't be enough to be a problem on this, because this is geared for such lo-fi stuff anyway. It should be fine.
So you're talking, 1/4 to 1/8, and then into a Bluetooth receiver.
So there's wireless Bluetooth 1/8 inch receivers that go. One side would be 1/8 inch. You could just buy an 1/8 inch Bluetooth sender, basically, that goes into the 1/8 inch, and then you can buy a Bluetooth receiver that's a USB-C or Lightning, however you're set up. Plug that in your iPhone, link those, and then it could go out through your iPhone. It's basically tricking the system into thinking that your iPhone is the headphones.
Right. You're sending and receiving. It's a lot. It seems like a lot. But,
Well, it's one way.
I think, yeah. No, I would have to buy a sender and a receiver. Right?
Oh, right. No, well, yeah, you would have to send it from the Focusrite and then receive it on the iPhone, correct?
Got it. Interesting.
Or you could just do like an 1/8 inch to USB-C or Lightning. I'm sure they make it. It would some mad.
That's what I was telling. Yeah, somebody does a 1/4 inch to like, USB-C.
Yeah, that'll work the same way, and that'll be. There's no lag on that.
If you can do it in a way that's
we're really. I really appreciate you guys, but. Brenna has been in my lives the few times that I've done like an acoustic live gig, and there's like 4 listeners at a time, so it's like it's not that big of a deal. I think.
If we bring your audio, if we kick up the audio game a notch, maybe you'll get to 5. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
But so there's like the 1/4 inch whatever audio jack to USB-C. You can get that. So if you have a way of outputting from your laptop to a 1/4 inch thingy like that, I feel like there must be a way of doing that.
Oh yeah, the headphone output would do that. Yeah, my headphone output would do that.
Then you should be able. Yeah, then you can just get the adapter. It exists.
The question is,
but I lost it.
Is it a stereo when it says 1/4 inch to? Is it designed for guitars? Because that would be a mono, and then that would be like left signal only.
Well, you would
really nasty.
if it's a live output, you could do pan work on the actual Focusrite. Otherwise, it's going to stay static on the mono.
Well, no,
just like if you have your headphones.
A headphone jack is a stereo. Look, let me show you.
It is stereo, but if you pan left, pan right, like if you're using like omni-channel, or not omni-channel, oh God. My brain just broke. The recording headphones that you put in your ears that do left and right. Oh God!
No, I know what you're saying. I would have to go into my computer, pan the entire Logic channel all the way to the left. No, I know, but it would be even better if there was like I can't get close enough, but there's 2 stripes on a stereo 1/4 inch jack. There's 2 black stripes. That means there's sending both left and right channel.
Correct.
Yeah. So that would be ideal if there's a stereo left and right out to USB-C.
Yeah, I don't know for what we're trying to do. Now you're starting to screw around with like high end board work.
Why wouldn't they have because it's only designed for guitars or something?
You would have to get a splitter. It would have to be dedicated, and you have to get a splitter. And you'd still have to go manual to dedicate the levels for each one.
Wait, so you're saying that this cord that exists that is 1/4 inch jack to USB-C is only designed for like guitar players or something?
It's probably stereo, so it's probably designed for all instruments.
Then if it's stereo, then it's no problem. I wouldn't have to do anything.
Yeah, it's probably stereo, I would assume.
Yeah.
Because why would you do a mono?
For guitar players to plug into and use GarageBand on their phones.
Oh, yeah, no. I mean, maybe they have both. Maybe they have a stereo and a mono.
Yeah, it's worth looking into. I think that's the answer, though.
I mean, I'm a guitar player, but I don't play through my phone.
No, but some people do. I mean, not only phone, but more importantly, I guess, is iPad. So a lot of people use GarageBand on their iPad.
I play through my triple rectos.
I'm trying to think of what I would have done if I was a teenager, like right now, and it would definitely be like iPad. Any means necessary to create music.
Turning me into an old asshole. I'm like, I like my triple rectos, dual rectos.
But also like not any means necessary. Like the tools, like iPads are getting better and better at doing shit like that. You know what I mean? Like,
Do you know what the original?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just like use whatever tool. Like when I was a kid, like I was recording songs on a little tiny microphone into my parents' like tape deck and like with a blank tape and like being like, this is my song idea, you know? Yeah. So it's like, but now the options are unlimited. But like I'm trying to think of my nephew and niece who are like 14 and 11, and they have an iPad. If I was their age, I'd be doing it on an iPad, you know?
Well, I mean, with today's technology, if you really want to get really good tone out of your guitar, just go buy a head. You don't even need a cab and plug it directly into Focusrite.
Just saying. You don't really need all that. If you
Even
go over
better,
to my friend
even better.
Kelly Strange in my friends list, she does music on here and is in band. Her setup it's just a mixer played through a computer, and it sounds awesome.
Yeah,
she has the best sound that I've heard on TikTok as far as people making music.
Is that a 212 or is that a 112?
It's new. It's their Origin 50. And it has a DI out and a clean DI out. So you can send the signal out right to the computer, and you can send a dry signal. Yeah, it's tube too. It's fucking awesome. It's such a great amp.
Ooh.
It's a tube amp. It's a tube amp that sends it's designed for the modern era. So I can add it to a cab if I wanted to play live. So it's like basically a head with a speaker. But the reason I bought it is because I can send the signal out of what like I can dial how I want it, send that to my computer, and send a dry signal so that I get the clean, completely dry direct input, and I can reamp stuff.
Yeah, that could be really good for if you play that kind of stuff. I play such aggressive stuff that until 5150 or Mesa Boogie comes out with something like that, I'm probably stuck.
Mesa Boogie. Yeah, I know. I get it. This is kind of a JCM.
I love the old JCM. My friend had one of the original JCM 2000s, the one that didn't have the gain button, and it was all volume, like old Hendrix style. And it was really bad when we would play live because we'd have to turn his cab around and put it behind the drum riser because it was just
because you have to crank it
loud.
up to get the distortion.
Yeah, so loud because he had to go to 11 to get the distortion.
It's awesome.
And I had over there. I had a triple recto with an orange cab because I like those really those blackbacks. I really like those blackbacks. So, and I was running P90 pickups and an SG, so my thing sounded like a can crunching. So it was pretty crazy.
Wait, P90's on an SG? That's pretty rad.
Yeah, I loved it.
I've got these. Hold on. I'm a big fan
that was
of
that was during the day. That was during the days when everybody was going active. It was like early 2000s. Everybody's going to EMGs, and I really just wanted active pickups. I really like that single coil P90, just the baseball bat sound.
Yeah. What is that? Have you heard of Reverend? Have you dialed into Reverend guitars? Because they're making some of the best guitars now. They're making some of the best pickup combinations. Take a look at this. It's a humbucker.
Is that two P90s and a humbucker?
90s. Yeah, it's two P90s with a humbucker at the bridge.
That's hot.
My lighting isn't great, but
I can see it though.
It's super great. No, it's basically what I get is I get like a bridge Les Paul, and then with these two, I can kind of dial in like a Strat and a Telly sound.
Yeah,
it's cool.
Man, I'm just such a Gibson
Look up Reverend guitars.
purist.
They're making the best guitars around right now. Reverend.
I'll check it out. I'm just such a Gibson purist. Like I'm a psycho about it.
Brenna, we've taken over your live. You should take it back.
It's fine. I'm just reading about
the numbers are plummeting. The numbers are plummeting.
They went up with you guys.
It usually happens when I get on here because I start talking about some wild out of the fucking corner shit. Frederick, you got a question?
He's gonna ask you why the F did you choose euphonium in elementary school?
Middle school, dude. All right, let's just be real straight about this. That was middle school. And let me tell you something. I was first chair euphonium, okay? And I got to
because there were only 2 of them in the whole district.
There were 4, all right? So, look, man, pick the instrument that not a lot of people want to pick, and you'll go to All-State every year, all right?
That's a good point, because trumpet was a hard one to get into All-State. That's true. That's a good point.
I was All-State every year, so... Got a Yamaha keyboard, and when I try to practice piano on it with headphones, only one side sounds. That's exactly what we were just talking about with Frederick.
It could be the output of the Yamaha keyboard, but if it's a headphone output, it should be stereo. So it might have something to do with the headphones you're using. Have you tried multiple headphones?
Yeah, try multiple headphones because they might be a mono out instead of a stereo out.
I would be surprised if Yamaha made a headphone output that was mono out.
Unless it's really...
It's possible that you're plugging it into like one of 2 outputs, but you need to plug it instead into the headphone out. But
just look on the back.
They might have if it says output LR, then that would be why.
Yeah, just look on the back and make sure it's not output left, right, or 2 speakers, something like that.
He says he takes. They say they take the headphones to the gym, so it sounds like it works at the gym, but not on the keyboard.
I would just be, and honestly, it may just be an electrical issue. That's what sometimes happens, unfortunately. Like the other day when I went to Guitar Center and I saw a 10-year-old kid turn on the standby before he turned the power on.
Oof! On a tube amp. That's rough.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, buddy. That's a teaching moment. That's a teaching moment. Somebody slaps your wrist. Like, I'll never forget the time somebody slapped my wrist for doing that.
I mean, I did it. 100% I did it. It does say L and L plus R. You want L plus R. Make sure you're in that. Or if it's a switch, make sure it's on L plus R. Because I've seen some of them that actually have a mono to stereo switch.
Yamaha is great at making acoustic pianos, and they're great at making motorcycles. And
have you seen that? Have you seen that bit? Have you seen that bit on TikTok about Yamaha? Those Australian guys?
I don't think so.
Oh, dude, it is hilarious. This guy goes to his buddy, goes, "Hey man, I think I want to start a company." And the guy goes, "Okay, yeah, we'll start a company." He goes, "What are we gonna make?" And he goes, I think we're gonna make motorcycles. I think we're going to make motorcycles. He's like, "Oh, that's great. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make motorcycles." He's like, "Yeah, all kinds of motorcycles." He's like, "Yeah, that sounds great." And he goes, and pianos. And he goes, "Wait, what? We don't, what?" And he goes, "No, I think we're going to make pianos too." And he goes, "Why?" He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Oh, but we're also going to make industrial equipment. I think we're going to do industrial equipment too." He's like, what are we doing?" And he goes, "Oh, and violins. We're going to make violins."
Oh, like, I didn't know they made violins. That's
I don't know, but the way he said, the way they did it, he like listed all the stuff that Yamaha does, which is like everything. Yeah. It was so funny. Hilarious.
That's why I say
I like Yamaha guitars.
Yamaha does make guitars.
Yeah, Yamaha
makes guitars. They do.
They make boats too.
Yeah, jet skis, snowmobiles. General Motors used to make household appliances.
I think they're good at grand pianos and motorcycles.
Yeah, they make all kind. They make airplane parts, I think, too.
Yeah.
Look, just be the best version of Yamaha you can be in your life. Just do it the best you can.
Motorcycles.
That's grand pianos. They are. They're not the best grand pianos, but they are in terms of their repertoire of what they make. Grand pianos is the best thing
they're really good. Steinway's the best, but they're really good.
Steinway and Bosendorfers are the best, but in terms of what they make, their grand pianos are the best of what they make, because those little crotch rocket motorcycles are not as good as the other motorcycles.
I agree
and stuff.
I agree.
Yeah, I have a Those old Hondas are the best motorcycles.
I have a
in the world.
double head. Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so I can ride around and look mean. Ride around and look like a meanie pants.
Rawr. Well, you'd have to make up for the fact that you played euphonium in middle school.
Andrew, you haven't seen what I look like now, do you? You've never been on the lives when I'm actually on here without that picture.
I'm just teasing you because euphonium is an important instrument in the wind ensemble, but it's funny. It's like euphonium is like the second most reject. Like basically anyone who like is interested in playing the tuba gets to play the tuba, and then second to that is euphonium.
No.
They'll hand
worse than
anyone a tuba and a euphonium.
It's worse than that. I can tell you how it works. It's the people that want to play trombone can't play trombone. Then they try and play tuba, and then they can't play tuba, so they put them on euphonium in between the trombone and tubas.
But my friend and my very close friend in high school was a euphonium player, and he was like really fucking good euphonium player. And then he went into the Air Force.
One of my buddies who still played it through high school, I stopped playing it in high school, but he started playing. He played it, and he had one of the 4-valve, the low valves. The 4th valve was the low valve instead of the 4 up top. He had 3.
Yeah. 4-valve euphonium for sure.
Yeah, I had a 4-valve euphonium, but mine was all 4. And then he had one that was 3 top, 1 bottom, almost like a trigger trombone for euphoniums. And it was really wild. It was really wild.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've only ever seen the 4-valve, like all 4 fingers. I've never seen the trigger
one
euphonium.
where it's 4 valves at the top, and then where you hold your left hand down at the bottom, there's a 4th valve down there instead.
Oh, for your left hand, not even your right.
Yeah, it's for your left hand.
Oh wow! So it's interesting. Aren't there some French horns that are like that?
Yeah, there are some French horns that are like that. Well, they've got the trigger. French horns got a trigger too for the octave drop, just like trigger trombones.
Exactly.
Brenna, you didn't realize it was going to turn into music talk.
It's okay.
Well, yeah.
Free flow and discussion is. I'm just reading stuff on Reddit.
Did you ever play any instruments, Brenna?
Yeah, I played violin, piano. I dabbled in the bass and eventually a bit of ukulele when I was an adult.
Totally see you as a bass player.
I've heard that before.
Small chicks always play the bass.
Small chicks.
I would have guessed clarinet. That's what I would have guessed. Clarinet.
Oh, that's insulting.
Yeah, for sure.
My sister was a
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Might as well have just called her a bassoon or an oboe player. Jeez.
No. Bassoon and oboe players were rare. That was like clarinet. No, clarinet was not an insult.
I was a violinist, like pretty seriously for a while, and pianist. And yeah, my sister played the flute.
Have you seen my beehive violin, Brenna?
Your beehive violin? I don't think so.
I broke a violin. Does that count?
Yes.
All right, I'll let you know when to put me in the big box.
Okay. I'll let you know when to put me in the big box. I like that.
Ugh. What time is it? Oh my God.
Oh, it's 1 a.m. here. 1:20.
How's Philippe?
He's good. He's sleeping on my couch right now. He decided he wanted to come over.
Some guys just have all the luck.
Yeah, he's so lucky. He came over, picked up food, gave me food, walked over to the couch right as I hit go live, and he fell asleep on the couch. So lucky. The man showed up. He had the pleasure of feeding me and then falling asleep on my couch while I did something else.
Yeah, well, it is what it is.
Where's this beehive violin?
There it is.
It is time.
Wait,
it is time.
It's time to put you in the big box. Let's see. Whoa.
Ooh. Yeah, but that's not functional.
Yes, it is. I played it laying down, on the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey scores for 1 and 2, the first one and the sequel, and you play it like you play it like this.
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I
that
couldn't tuck it underneath my.
slightly triggers my trypophobia, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, and they're inside. They actually also went inside the F holes.
No.
Yeah, they went inside the F holes and
Small
put,
screen,
Yep,
small
there you go.
screen, small screen.
Ugh. That's cool. That's cool, but it's giving me the creepy crawlies. Ugh. How do I shrink it? How do I shrink it?
This is the reason I have a Variety article written about me. This is like,
How do I
this is probably the reason I'm verified on TikTok and Instagram.
Stop. Oh my god.
All right, there you go. Fine.
It's great. It's great.
Brenna, make yourself bigger.
I don't know how to do it now. Full screen. How the fuck does that? What the fuck? Why isn't it doing it now? Maybe. Oh, here. Expand. Ugh. That's very cool. It is very cool, Andrew. I don't mean to. But it does. It is very cool, and I think it's awesome that it plays. But it does trigger my trypophobia just a little bit. Honeycomb does that to me.
How dare you yuck his yum.
It is cool. So how did that happen?
Oh, hey, Halo.
What's up, Halo?
I was in Robin's live yesterday for about 5 seconds.
Did Andrew leave?
Sorry, I was putting it away. The way that it happened is no, I don't care. When I posted a video of it, one of the 2 videos of mine that have gone over 1 million
Andrew,
views
before you get on the story, I've got a dip. I gotta go. I'm so fucking tired. But I'll see you guys later. Bye.
Night. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye, God. Bye, Andrew.
Good night, Pizza Steve.
Bye.
Later.
Sorry.
So I guess it's about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, when I signed on to the first Winnie the Pooh horror movie. I remembered an article written about this experimental luthier. A luthier is somebody who makes string instruments like guitars and violins and stuff. You probably know that, Brian. I'm mansplaining.
I didn't know that. No.
But his whole thing is he like experiments with violins because, as you probably know, there's like this idea about the violin that it's like a perfect instrument and it can never be improved. So everybody buys violins that are 100 years old because we've never made a better instrument than the violins that were made hundreds of years ago.
Except that recently in a test, people preferred the newer violins over the old ones. But yeah, I know.
I love that. I'm gonna tell Tyler that because he probably
fact check it, look it up. But it was like an article that I just saw recently that was like, oh, in a like blind test, people actually just prefer the newer violins rather than the.
No, I mean I think it's true because they're building it on like the same specs.
Yeah.
You know, but they're making it better and better. But anyways, his whole thing is like, what would a violin sound like if I poured water inside the F holes? And I had somebody playing it filled with water, or like what would happen if I like grilled a violin on my barbecue?
What would happen?
And then put it back together. So, anyways, I signed on to this Winnie the Pooh horror movie, and I remembered in a New Yorker article that he was in. I had already hired him to build an instrument for me, like make a custom instrument for me. But at that time, I had I remembered that in his New Yorker article, he mentioned something about putting a violin inside of a beehive just to see what would happen. And so I reached out to him and I was like, hey, what happened to that beehive violin? And he was like, oh my God, I forgot that I did that. And so it had been inside of the beehive for 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So
So how did he find a
I said to him,
beehive that he wasn't like keeping an eye on?
He's also a beekeeper. He's also a beekeeper in San Francisco, and he was like taking care of somebody's beehive for them so that they could have the honey and not have to worry about it. He would go and tend to the bees. So he like when he like tends to other people's bees, he does it for free and only keeps like some of the honey and then makes meat out of it.
Nice.
So like people get to have a beehive on their property in the suburbs of San Francisco, and they get all the honey from it, and then he gets to keep some of the honey and make his own mead.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, he like stuck a violin inside of one of the beehives that he tended and forgot that he had done that. And he was like, "Do you want me to pull it out and see if anything happened?" And I was like, "Don't touch it. I'm going to drive up there and we'll film it. We'll pull it out together." And that's what we did. And it was incredible. And then he put it back together, and I took it home, and he gave it to me to take it home and record some of the music on the Winnie the Pooh horror movie, and gave me the violin. So I have it forever.
That's so sweet.
He also made this for me. For the sequel, he made this crazy instrument. A bear skull.
Oh,
a bear
wait,
skull
yes.
cello.
Yeah, I remember us talking about this.
You've seen this, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen this. But let me turn this up. Let me expand it.
Pretty neat. He made this bear skull cello for me out of a cigar box.
Damn.
And then a fake bear skull, because it's against the law to buy bear remains in California.
Is it really?
So we had to use like a replica. And then
You couldn't
3/4
buy bear remains
cello neck.
elsewhere and bring them into California?
I guess. I was just kind of going along with what he was saying, and I didn't want to push too much. I wanted to use a real bear skull, but
That's cool.
yeah.
Just because it's curious, just because I feel like the point would be to get the resonance, right? Like
Yeah, that was the original idea, is like, what would this skull of a bear sound like affecting the resonance? This is the other instrument. This is when I first met him. I commissioned this instrument from him.
That's cool.
That's never been replicated, one of a kind. It was for a movie that then I never ended up working on.
What was the goal?
But I use it all the time. It's a cool instrument. It has springs inside of the box, so that it makes its own reverb.
Oh, nice. That's really cool. I remember when I was a kid, I would try to make instruments out of rubber bands and cardboard all the time, just for fun. That was always fun. That's cool. It's like now that I think about it, it's like, yeah, you could just do that as an adult as well, but like with wood. Ben says he's following. That's spectacular.
I think it's like, hold on. It's like you have to do the right measurement, but you can I made one of these for a summer camp that I taught at. And it's literally just milkshake straws. You cut them and then melt them closed. And they have to be the right length. So like a whole step. I think all I did was an inch.
Mm-hmm.
So whole step, and then half step. So half an inch, and then full inch, another inch, and then a half an inch.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
That's cool. Nice.
quite work. I couldn't get I think it must have aged poorly. The plastic is not aging well.
Peter Pan flute.
Yeah, it's called a pan flute.
Nice. Pan flute. That's so cool. But yeah, I feel like it would be cool to just honestly, like, I have scraps of wood, right? I could just fucking throw together some random shit and string some guitar strings across it and see what the fuck happens. I mean, I know that it's a lot more complicated than that, but if you're just being experimental, like, you really could. Like,
yeah, you're just making sound. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm just realizing, like, yeah, I mean, I was a kid and I literally came up with that with like an activity. I was like trying to be the cool older sister. I was in like second grade, maybe first, second, or third grade, somewhere around there. My sister had some friends over, and I was trying to come up with activities, and so I was like, we're gonna make instruments with like cardboard and I remember playing with and rubber bands and stuff, and I remember like crafting these different shaped things to get the reverb and like we all like came up, we all did very different things, and they all sounded very different just because of the like shape and stuff, and it was just cardboard and rubber bands. And like now that I'm thinking of that, I'm like, I'm an adult with adult money. Why the fuck am I
You
not?
can do it.
Why the fuck am I not just doing that for fun on the weekend? Why am I not just, getting scraps of wood and guitar strings and seeing what happens?
It's all math. Music is all math. The length of a string, and then half of that length of whatever string it is or rubber band is the octave of what it is. Like if you cut that string in half, it's the octave, and then you can cut it in fourths, and you'll get the notes. Like it's literally it's so easy to make these instruments.
Yeah. Oh, he's not
You
converting me into a hobbyist, Benny. I am a hobby hopper extraordinaire. These shelves you see behind me are the main part of my hobby graveyard. Let me just say that. I hobby hop too much. Yes, extraordinaire. A hobby hopper extraordinaire. And I'm just saying, the reason I'm saying this is because I have a bunch of wood scraps because one of my hopped hobbies was woodworking for a while. I mean, I should say I still do it. I should talk about it in the present. But yeah, if I just got a few guitar strings, I could just, and not even that, let's just use some rubber bands, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Start cheap.
You get some pretty good cheap guitar strings.
Yeah. Yeah, I was. Has anyone in your generation heard of a Foley art? What fucking generation do you think you're from?
I've done Foley art.
Yeah, my first job in college was as a Foley engineer and artist.
Do you know why it's called Foley? Does Noel know why it's called Foley? Yeah, it's named after the first person to do it.
Jack Foley. I can't believe I remember his name, Jack Foley. They're all named Jack.
It's so fun. I did Foley for a Western short film that I scored, and it was like they didn't have the money, so they hired me to score it and do the sound effects and mix it. And so, but it was just a short film. Like I don't mix feature films and stuff, but for short films, I don't mind doing some fun stuff on the side. And we actually they did have the money to get me into like an actual Foley stage that has like a gravel pit and then like a sand pit and like all the different equipment. So it was really fun because I didn't have to look around my house and try to find, how to make sounds out of what I had. Like when I've done Foley in the past, it's like, okay, here's a fight scene. Let me like rustle around some pillows and like for the cloth and stuff like that. But when you're on a Foley stage, there's like closets and closets full of materials and cloth and different shoes and chains and metal things you can bang and chairs, and it's so much fun.
I did a mini. I mean, I was one of the Foley engineers and artists because you kind of had to be both. My sound teacher was like, "You've got something for sound," and I was like, "Really?" So I did sound for a while. I was a Foley and ADR engineer, but I also filmed like a little mini kind of doc thing about an Emmy award-winning Foley artist who's a trans woman. And just because it was for like a little series for WeWork, it was like branded content.
That's cool.
On members of the LGBTQ community and stuff. Yeah.
Benny, to answer your question, I like writing. I think probably my favorite instruments to write for are French horn and cello. Those are the ones that sometimes I find are really fun to write for. They're really juicy instruments to write for. And probably my favorite to play is I write on piano, and I enjoy playing piano, and I like singing, so I enjoy singing, and so usually the piano or the guitar is what I use to accompany my singing. Nice. I find the most joy out of singing.
We were just talking about Alien Romulus earlier. You Foleyed Romulus?
No way, dude! Congrats! What a fantastic movie. I loved watching it. Are you? So wait, you must be in LA. Are you in LA, Noel?
Nice. Noel, I assume, not Noel.
Oh, Noel.
Yepers. Noel.
We should get lunch, dude. We should get
You
lunch.
should get
No.
lunch. You guys gonna be the sound department on my feature film if I ever get it funded?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm gonna
You're gonna do it.
piece together a fucking feature film through TikTok, just person by person.
What I would tell your
Sound by
mom, because
sound.
I heard you guys talking before I came in. What I would tell your mom is there are as many paths to success as there are people trying to get there.
Yeah, no, she's
And
gotten round. She's kind of coming around to it, especially when I'm like, guess what? I made all of my rent money on one video like this weekend, and she starts to when she hears that, she's like, oh, okay. She's definitely warmed up to it, to the idea. It's more just like it's yeah, it's more just to like get wrapping your head around it, because I also have that same thing, and I still have to convince myself a lot. I mean, I've kind of gotten over the hard part, but it was like I really had to kind of talk myself out of being like worried about the stigma. I'm still worried about some of the stigma, in the film industry. But it's just if it's like one of those things, you got to change your thinking about it. I get it. I'm not trying to like give her a hard time for it, but yeah. You can be Grip, Halo. She lives in Pittsburgh.
you can
Benny.
You can still get to, like, what I'm saying is there's like a reality in which you still are the next Michael Moore through getting notoriety about doing research, like, journalism on TikTok. And then that somehow gets you into doing a documentary about somebody, and boom. You know what I mean? Like, there's no one way to accomplish anything. There never has been, but especially now, there's even more. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, she would love for me to be like Jon Stewart. She would love for me to be like on SNL, which is weird because that's never really been a thing that I like was moving towards or anything like that. But she likes comedy. She really wants me doing comedy stuff. And I'm like, I do comedic stuff when I'm in a funny mood. That's it. And it's like slightly comedic. It's not, whatever. Doesn't matter. But
well, my mom wants me to do family movies, and
really?
I'm doing horror movies. So yeah.
That's so funny. That makes sense. My mother would fucking hate for me to do family movies. Ironically, that's like, yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Well, because I've written dramas and more serious stuff and like historic stuff. That's like the historic drama. Like, I know that's not a family movie, but like the historic drama is what kind of got my career moving. And she fucking hated it. Like, she didn't hate it, but she hated that it was not comedy. She hated that it was not comedy. And yeah, just it's weird. It's a whole thing. It's like. And so, yeah, so it's funny because I've had to, like, talk to her where she was, like, really, really resistant at the beginning, where I was like, oh, shit, like, I can make money from social media and maybe I should, like, take this a little bit more seriously. She was so against it, but I was like, Corley, like, I'm doing comedy stuff or comedic stuff. Like, this is literally what you've been trying to get me to do for fucking years, ironically. And now that I'm doing it, now that I'm, like, writing occasionally, obviously not all of my stuff is funny, but like occasionally writing like semi-funny stuff, you can't stand it. Like, come on, but also what was the other thing? I was gonna say one thing, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever.
We'll find success in different ways, and yeah, our parents will not fully understand how it's happening.
What I was gonna say.
I remember when I first was like,
sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. I don't want you to lose that thought.
She came in one of the weekends where we were doing the debate stuff or the discussion stuff, and she was like blown away by it. She was like, you gotta, like, that hooked her in, and she was like, you gotta host like a podcast, like a radio thing, and it's gotta be live and da-da-da-da, where you like invite conservatives up to like discuss things like da-da-da-da-da. And I was like, I'm not trying to give people like a platform like that. I'm not trying to. She like, but that really made her be like, oh wow, like there's something here that doesn't exist in a format elsewhere, and it's not a cheap copy of something, and it's not, you know what I mean? Like she really liked that. It was the weekend of the like ear piercing, you know, pew pew. That we had those big discussions. Those were like big ones, right? And they were so polite and so respectful, despite a lot of people like disagreeing with one another. And we had a lot of conservatives up here, and we were, you know, having really good and productive conversation. And at one point I messaged her and I was like, you should check out what we're doing. And so she did, and she was like, she's like, so like she immediately like bought in to that. You know what I mean? Which was interesting, but yeah.
But at some point, like,
boomer,
or in some way, this is the new talk radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Oh, absolutely.
TikTok lives are the new talk radio.
Yeah. Well, lives.
So you're already kind of doing it.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like less. I think she wants me to do like a scheduled show and have a very structured thing to it, and she wants, which I should, if that's what I want to do. But the live streaming supports the like TikToks, which supports the film. I don't know. I'm doing more and more live streaming stuff these days, so who fucking knows. Goodbye, Noel. It was great to meet you. It's cool to meet a star. Romulus. Good job. Congratulations. Boom's around.
I had so much fun watching that movie. I know a lot of people don't like it, like Alien fans, but
all I hear, I only hear great things about the Foley.
The Foley is perfect. No, it was such a good movie, dude. I loved it. So much fun.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Sam, a little structure wouldn't hurt. Yeah, Sam. I mean, sometimes we fall into slightly more structured discussions where people come in and it's like, and I just ask them, what do you want to talk about? And they lead you know, it is free flowing. Sometimes we fall into a slightly more structured free flow. But right now we're kind of winding down. And I don't know. I also don't want to be like, now it's fine, but like after the election, if things go well, I don't know how much we'll really have to debate, as you know what I mean? Like, I would love to have a period of my life, of my adult life, where I don't have to fucking worry about Republicans, quite frankly. I know that that's not going to happen. That's not, you know, one election does not fix everything or suddenly make us safe from all the risks that they put us in. But, you know, Congress will still be Congress, whatever. But it's like I would love nothing more than to be able to, like, go about my daily life without, you know, having to think about that, like, politics, you know?
It'll be, even in the best case scenario, there will be debates about things being stolen for months afterwards, leading to January. That's going to go on forever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm hoping that maybe things like chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that the best case scenario out of what comes from this November, or I should say this Rovember, is that it is the demise of the Trump era. That's the best case scenario, and that we can move on from that, and like, and maybe conservatives get back to being actual conservatives again, and we can like not have some existential crisis every year.
Yeah, if Republicans could just fucking stop being crazy, we could just have like the basic debates about like fucking marginal tax rates and just call it a day. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, like I'd love to be able to be like, will this policy work functionally? But instead, it's like, will this policy work functionally, and why would you vote for the person who's a convicted felon? Like, why don't we?
Yeah.
It's literally so insane.
yeah. I like lost my TikTok live thing. The program like went away. Where is it?
I mean, I still see you.
That's so weird. I like.
You can't hear us or something, or what?
No, I can hear you, but I lost the window.
Oh, weird. Yeah, like the page, like it said like GoPro or something came up.
That too. My camera froze and I had to restart it. But I have no control. I can't control the live at all and stuff.
We weren't even like talking about China, so I don't know why they would do that.
I know, right? This is so weird. There we go. Now I got it back up.
I think I'm gonna go. My dog's getting antsy. I'm gonna go up. She's like, it's time to go upstairs.
Yeah.
So.
My pup similarly just hopped down and she's like, "Hey man, are we going to bed or like what, dude?"
Right.
She was
Our
in bed and
dog's
she's
always
like,
trying to.
"You never got into bed. You want to come up and say goodnight to everyone?" Yeah. Oh, baby. We're gonna
Just
fall
before I
asleep.
go, I just want to say it was wild and crazy that guy said like, "Oh, I only have 2 million followers on TikTok."
Yeah. That was cute.
That was wild.
That was cute. That's
I almost want to say,
fake
"Oh, I mean,
humility."
I don't really know much about TikTok. I'm only verified."
I'm only verified.
I would do almost anything to get a blue check mark on my name.
Yeah.
I genuinely have no idea why. I think it's because of the variety. Like when I applied on Instagram and TikTok, I was approved instantly for both, and I think it's because they ask you for like articles about you as when you apply as like a quote notable person. By the way, I am not a notable person. But I think whoever was reviewing my application thought that I was because I had I think it's all because Variety wrote about me in that Beehive violin thing. So yeah, I have a check mark and
I've kind of debated
all or whatever.
it. I feel like there's an article. There's a couple articles about me and my screenplay back when I like won and stuff. And there's also an article that I was quoted in about like birth control and stuff. And I have.
You should at least try. There's no reason not to try.
Should I do it? I don't know if it's.
You should try it. Why not?
Yeah, maybe I will. I've been.
Yeah, you should totally do it. It's not that hard.
I mean, literally, like I tried it on Twitter a couple times before Elon made it a pay for thing. So, and I was rejected a couple times. But like, there's the only downside is that you're rejected, but then you have to wait like 2 months or 3 months or whatever to apply again. There's no downside to applying. You find out, and then you
would
go.
Apply again
all right,
with the same stuff, the same amount of.
I didn't. I didn't. I tried once on Twitter and I was rejected, and then I was going to try again, and because I got verified on Instagram and TikTok, I was gonna try Twitter again, but they started to. Elon got rid of the actual verification, and now it's like an $8 or $11 or whatever. Yeah. So I'm not verified on Twitter, but I tried once on Twitter and got rejected, and then I was like, but when I got that Variety article, and there were all these articles about the Winnie the Pooh movie, I was like, hey, maybe I'll try again. But by that point, Elon had changed the policy on Twitter, but I was approved on Instagram and TikTok, like on my first try. So,
well, isn't Instagram now paid as well?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. But I think you can, but unlike Twitter, I think you can still apply and not pay.
Oh, really?
So like what happened on Twitter is that like
it's all paid, but Instagram.
Yeah, so like, what's like if Brad Pitt had a Twitter, he would have like he wouldn't be verified,
right?
Unless he paid.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, Brad Pitt is still verified, and you can still be the next Brad Pitt and get verified, or you can also pay for a check mark.
Okay. Yeah, if it's like.
And by the way, you can see on you can check that if they like. There's no way to check who's paid or not on Instagram, but on Threads, because Threads is like a crossover to Instagram, you can see who's paid for it or not on Threads for some reason.
Oh, okay. You can see who's paid for it. All right. But you can get verified if you're just a notable person, regardless.
I think so still, yeah. On Instagram, yeah.
Okay. I'll apply the
I don't know.
to the
I don't know,
TikTok.
Jacob. Jacob says Threads is trash. I kind of like Threads, but it's like very niche.
I just joined Threads. I was pulled onto it by someone who basically uploaded my TikTok.
It's very niche in the way like that. Like a couple weeks ago, somebody went viral on Threads because they were like, if you run into Christopher Nolan at Whole Foods, you should shoot your shot. And here's how you should do it. And then everyone was dogpiling on that person because if you run into Christopher Nolan in Whole Foods, you should not bother that poor person who's just trying to buy, bouillon cubes.
Yeah. You should shoot your shot. What kind of shoot your shot? Like, you should pitch the fucking movie or something? Or like.
That's what that person was saying, was trying to give like career advice and saying like, pitch your movie to Christopher Nolan in the chicken stock aisle of Whole Foods. And everyone was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah, good. I'm glad that everyone was like,
yeah, everyone was like, that is a terrible idea. But that's why Threads is interesting. It's like very niche. It's like, for me, it's like, it seems like it's all about film. And that's probably just because I work in film. But I guess if you're into sports, like all you'll see is sports. I think Threads does a better job of tailoring your experience to your interests than like Twitter or any of the other apps.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to go. I'm going to take this dog upstairs.
All right. I'm probably also going to hop off, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Okay, good night.
Dog is like, what the hell, man? And Felipe is asleep on the couch, and I'm going to see if I can wake him up, and we'll watch some movies. Stay up late, everyone. Or maybe I'll just go to sleep. Maybe I'll just do that. This was fun. Thank you, everyone. Love you guys. I'm sleepy, Enlightened. Where were you early? Enlightened, I was saying earlier I was speaking to you, and I feel like you left. I said I finally decided that I want Vans. So we'll talk about that. All right. Okay, I'll tell him. It's fucking fall now, Enlightened. The summer's gone. It's over. It's cold now here. Kiss size 37. 6.5, 7, depending. 37, basically. But I don't think I want the black and white ones. I think I saw someone with like the yellow and white ones or something that I worked with on set, and I was like, those are classier. But maybe there's other colors. I don't know. I haven't decided. But I think I want them. This woman was wearing them, and I was like, you're cool. I want to be like you. That was the extent of it. All right. Next time I come on, ¿vale? Enlightened? Ya nunca estás, so sorry, guys. I'll go to the okay, la próxima vez, okay? The next time, Enlightened, please. I don't want to stay up late shopping. Si estás? Oh, okay. Well, you don't make your presence known, I guess, maybe. I'll be back. Tomorrow's not a big day for me. Tomorrow, I'll probably be back. Thursday's a big day. I got a lot to do. Okay. All right. I'll be back soon. No promises. Dramatic. Gracias, Ash. All right. Buenas noches, everyone. Besitos. Wait, let me stop